You know what I'm saying? So we see y'all in about 20 seconds.
Peace.
Welcome back. And we 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 back.
Yeah, what's happening? Y'all know what it is, man.
What's up? What's up?
Intro, bro. You know what I'm saying? We about to break down we about to get you. You know, I'll be usually fucking up on that, but I ain't gonna fuck up.
Is back.
1, 2, 3. Yo, what is happening? You know what I'm saying? It is I, the Most High, my tag team partner, Chidi, aka Chidi Bang.
Bang, and you know we are the Underground, a professional wrestling podcast. Man, it feels good to say that again because it's been a minute. It's been a while, and we are back. We are back live and in action, and I want to let you guys know, thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank y'all for being patient. If you guys listen to us, thank y'all for supporting us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, RW Podcast 1 on Twitter, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast on Twitter, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, and all the other platforms. Thank you for all the support. We're here for season 4. And yes, this season is going to be the season via satellite, baby, because your boy's Chitty Bang is in New York. Chris is holding down the fort in Florida, and we about to take over with Everything is Wrestling. Listen, man, I'm telling you guys, listen, we're changing things up. And we want to give y'all more content. Got things all down the line coming, and I want you guys to just hold tight and just stay with us because we got a lot planned. We've been working hard. We now have a Patreon. We already had a Patreon, but this Patreon has now changed our tiers. We have one tier where you get a second episode and you get behind the scenes. This weekend, we have, we'll put clips out, but you only get one episode.
We got Hell in the Cell this weekend. So are we doing a live reaction for our Patreon members?
Live reaction, live review of Hell in a Cell this weekend. So definitely tune in, tap in, live, recap, all that stuff will be on the Patreon. So if you like our content, you like our takes, you like how we talk wrestling, fuck with your boys and hop on the Patreon. But it's been a long time, but we back to talk some wrestling takes, and it's been active. Boy, has it been active.
It has been super active, my nigga.
Super
the
active.
Activist.
Yes, man. Radioactive up in this bitch, man. Shit.
Yo, we can't. Before I get into the show, man, I do have a couple shout outs that everybody in this wrestling sphere in this medium, podcasting, and I'm speaking of the melanin type. No shade, no disrespect to all the white brethren and sisters out there doing it, but we taking over, man. So I want to shout out to just, off top, A Show, Public Game Podcast, Grab City. I want to shout out the Black Guy Wrestling Podcast, Those Wrestling Girls, the Wind Down. Like, it's just, it's so much content, so many great people create stuff. And for one thing that I definitely wanted to comment on, I watched it live. It debuted on the 30th, I believe it was the 30th or the 31st, a couple of days ago. Wrestling with Whiteness, right? This young interviewer, and I'm mistaking her name because I don't follow her. And please understand, I don't follow you because you're underage, right? I just want to keep that. And I think she's like 17, 18. I'm married. I'm 32. I can just watch your tweets, other niggas. I can't.
Is the name of the podcast Wrestling with Whiteness?
No, it was she did a documentary. Did a documentary, and she interviewed a ton of Black wrestlers from top down, like from indies, whatever, and asked them how. And pretty much it was just, we know wrestling is a white dominated atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? And so she did a documentary. She had a slew of black wrestlers, content creators, and just asked them how they're doing in this space, how tight knit the brotherhood is, how important it is. And it was just dope. It was dope. It was inspiring. And she was like, and again, like I said, she's 17, 18. But she has a passion to enhance the business, man. So I just wanted to give that shout out before we get into our chicanery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and shout out to Joppa Cheers for hosting an event in New York City, Manhattan, where I attended to, watch Double or Nothing. It was packed, man. It was packed, and it was crazy. Like I think that especially in New York, it's a very mixed crowd, but the people were popping as if they were in the building, bro. Like you go out and check our Instagram, check our Twitter. I put a clip up on. I need to put more clips up, but that night was pretty cool.
That's what we about to. That's how we gonna roll into the show. Actually, how was that experience? I watched it on TV. You watched it on TV, but
I wish I was there. Honestly, I wish I was in Vegas. I mean, I haven't been to Vegas, so next year, if they're still in Vegas, let's try to make it to Double or Nothing because I need to get to Vegas, bro. But honestly, it was dope. I really enjoy the atmosphere. People were popping for every move, and people are drinking. So obviously, drunk wrestling fans are just there to have a good time. So everybody seemed like they were just having a good time. I had a couple of beers, and I just watched the show. I got there a little late. Don't get me wrong. I got there a little late. And me, I'm very recluse. So I was just in my own spot watching. I was at the bar watching all by myself, but I enjoyed the atmosphere, just to be around the people. Now granted, if some people talk to me, it's cool, but I don't like to bombard people with my presence. I just talk, I just handle things myself, and I'm there for the event. I watched the show, enjoyed it. It was a good show all in all. I'm telling you, AEW does not really have.
He's the worker and I'm the showman. That's why the tag team works.
I'm the worker. Listen, you want a technical match? I'm going to be technical. I'm going to get you that match. 5-star, baby. But as far as Chris can do the high spots. He can do all that shit. I'm literally. Oh man, but honestly, I enjoyed it, and I think that we need to do more of that. Speaking of, we have another event coming up. I mean, you promote it right now on the pod. It's called Black Wrestle Fest. It's in Brooklyn on Juneteenth weekend, on June 18th to the 19th. So if you can see it on my camera, you guys can check it out. Look it up online. They're going to be doing all type of wrestling rap battles, wrestling video game tournament, a panel discussion.
We'll add a cleaner picture.
Game shows, all types of stuff, meet and greets. It's going to be a good time. So I'm trying to see if I can head to Brooklyn and check that out.
That's fire, man. That's fine.
Yeah, man. It's just seeing, like you said, the black wrestling atmosphere continuing to grow and continuing to,
Shout out to Jobber Tears, though. Jobber Tears is a black wrestling podcast that is able to have a relationship with Legends Bar, right? To garner a relationship to be like, yo, we're going to throw this wrestling event. It's going to be just wrestling niggas. Like, that's it. And Legends like, all right. You know what I'm saying? But we are initiating.
And they had the game. Well, mind you, the finals game of the Celtics in Golden State, the last game was on in the bar.
Celtics in Miami.
Celtics in Miami was on that night. And all you hear is AEW speakers, So if you want to watch the game, it's there. But they really dedicated and gave the night to wrestling, which I appreciated. And it was my first time back in the city since coming back to New York. So, I love New York, man. I love the city. I have a love affair with New York City. This being in Manhattan, it's just a different vibe, So it brought me back to my college years. But it was fun. I shout out to all the halal guys on 53rd Street. If you know, halal guys on 53rd Street. I pulled up on them and got some food afterwards. But listen, we're here to talk about wrestling. So let's talk about Double or Nothing. I think that Double or
Nothing. You know what I'm saying?
It's a great show. Double or Nothing, honestly. It's a pivot show. It took the first half of the year, and we're now going into the second half of the year with AEW. And I want to just give them a lot of praise for just not putting on bad shows. I'm sorry, but if you're talking about AEW, they might have a bad television show where you're like, you know what, they didn't really do much this week. But when it comes to their big shows, their pay-per-views, or their big events, whatever you want to call them, they go all out. They'll go 4 hours, hell
No
long,
pun intended.
And they will, no pun intended, exactly, and they will put on a great show because they have a great talent on the roster. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you should be an AEW fan. If you're a pro wrestling fan, and I don't need no shade to sports entertainment and all that stuff, but if you're gonna say, hey, babe, my girlfriend doesn't know anything about wrestling, I want to show you what wrestling is like, I'm not taking her WWE right off the bat because because if you're my girl, you need a little nuance. I'm sorry. But that's the thing. WWE, I feel like, is very much
I'm glad we started right here.
Yeah. We can start. It's very much,
come on. We here.
The entertainment side of wrestling. It is, and we'll get more into that later on when I talk about fucking Ezekiel. But honestly, it's very much like, hey, we're putting on an act for you guys, and this is what it is. I think AEW, as far as the performance level in the ring and everything, you're gonna get pro wrestling, kind of like pure form of it. And I might be wrong. I'm not saying I'm completely right, but that's how I feel. Now I'm not knocking what WWE does. It's great in its own right, and it's meant to, be the box office main event, kind of like the Marvel superhero show. But if you go to Disney Plus and you want to watch, the more long drawn out storylines of, smaller characters, that's what you're kind of getting with AEW, a little bit more slower paced storytelling, and the match quality, I think, is a little bit more given more opportunity to put on a good match. Not that they're always having great matches, but they give people the time to do that. So I thought it was a great show from top to bottom. I don't want to run the card down. You want to run the card down?
No, I don't. But I'm glad that you was crazy that we're following the actual. We're back for season 4. We got a run sheet, guys. We're actually planning out our conversation. It's crazy. It's crazy that, even though we did that, we're still freestyling, right? But he led me right into the structure of the show. Now, that is big for me because, yes, as a wrestling fan, pro wrestling fan, sports entertainment fan, wrestling fan in general, right? I think wrestling shows are too long, right? We talk about it weekly. Raw is a weekly movie. We say how fucking crazy that is. We say how stupid that is. But we also know monetarily how that works. With the pay-per-view, I don't know if following or trying to appease the MMA boxing style of arrangement to kind of draw in the anticipation of big fight feel. Nigga, it's midnight. I got kids, nigga. I'm complaining when it's an 8:30 tip for basketball. Okay. So
but hey, if you're gonna watch, Floyd come out at sometimes 2:00 at midnight, sometimes that's how it is. Not even midnight, 2:00 in the morning. Floyd be coming out to the ring, that's how these things are, especially when you're in Vegas. Take the time, do what you want. Your fan base. I think that AEW knows how hardcore their fan base is, and they give them what they want. Now, if you don't want to wait all that time, then don't, take a nap earlier in the day, sleep halfway through the show, and say, I'm going to wake back up when CM Punk gets out here at the end of the event.
Now, I want to push back on this, right? Double or Nothing had 12 matches on the card. Did all 12 of those matches need to be on the card?
I don't think that all 12 matches need to be on the card. Like having the loser bracket of Kyle O'Reilly, even though it was a good match, Kyle O'Reilly, Darby Allin, I liked the match, but having it on the main show of Double or Nothing, it didn't need to be there. I think that those pay-per-views, me personally, I think pay-per-views should be, these are the stories we've been telling you for the past 2 months.
That is
this is the combination of the stories we've been telling you for the past however so long, So that's what I believe. So I do think there was a lot of matches in there that had no stakes.
7 matches should have been on that card. Seven was, and I'm not comparing it, but if we're talking about, right, we talk about Raw, we talk about SmackDown, or I'm sorry, we talk about Raw, we talk about WWE, we talk about AEW. Those are quote unquote the longest shows that we kind of 3.5 hours, 4 hours. That is a really good soft spot for a show, and 4 hours is pushing. 4 hours is pushing. 4 hours is a lot, right? Even with Raw, the ability to like have a commercial break, you know what I'm saying, to go piss or something like that gives you ability to check out. When there is that many matches, like you say, filler matches that didn't deserve to be there, it takes away from your statement because I don't want to do a gotcha thing, right? Double or Nothing. I mean, AEW does a really good deal with their pay-per-views and making them matter. They're a culmination of feuds from 6 to 8 weeks of this feud is the feud. With that being said, you don't need you don't need some of the things that what is the buy-in for? You know what I'm saying? Like what is that hour of leading into the big show about? Because we don't need a recap. You're talking about sophisticated, nuanced wrestling fans. Bitch, I've been watching all this time. I'm here for the action. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't need to spend that time. We don't need to go to WWE route of having the pregame be a setup for it because those nuanced fans of AEW are already there, right? They already know. WWE is the more
Disney. You're right to an extent. I think you're right to an extent because at the end of the day, you're going to try to draw in new audiences, especially when the show is long. Correct. You're going to want to show, hey, listen, the guy who brought his girl to the show, hey, this is what happened prior to get here. You know, the guy who brought his kid who is, you know, wasn't watch AEW Rampage. He only watches Dynamite. Oh, he's like, oh yeah, this happened on Dynamite. This is what led up to this match. And you know, that's how I look at it. But I hear what you're saying. It's a long time, you know, and how you cut it down is by taking some of the matches off the card. Now you had every title defended, which is I like. Every title should be defended on pay-per-views. I like that. And then on top of that, you had the Owen Hart tournament. You know, which Britt Baker and Adam Cole victoriously, you know, won the first ever inaugural Owen Hart tournament. I believe that right there shows that they're having an intention on creating a moment for people that may not be because Britt Baker and Adam Cole are stars, but they don't hold the title right now. You know what I mean?
Which means they don't need to be on the show.
I don't believe that. I think that this tournament is going to mean something as they continue to do it. You know, and this is the first one. Now, I can hear you. They didn't need to be on the show maybe. But if you want to make Double or Nothing, you know, a pay-per-view where every year you're going to get the Owen Hart, you know, annual tournament to crown, you know, a woman and champion as,
the Queen of Hearts and the King of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts and the King of Hearts, like kind of like King of the Ring kind of thing, then go for it.
I would say that just a quick note on the Owen tourney, and we can, you know, push past that because I want to talk into the advancement of stories, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam and Britt did not need those. What advancement of story are they going to tell? They're their inaugural, right? But is that just to placate Adam Cole? Is that just to keep Britt Baker? Because my conversation remains the same that Britt Baker winning that tournament doesn't advance or doesn't help anybody. It doesn't do anything for the tournament.
I would say. The tournament was good. I think there were a lot of great matches on TV.
Absolutely.
And I would move the tournament maybe from Double or Nothing to a different pay-per-view, you know? Oh, in the future, you know? But this is the first time doing it. So I think that moment would mean more when you don't have it at one of their big, you know, I think All Out, Double or Nothing, and what's the when that happened in the beginning of the year? Those are the three big ones. Is it not Fighter Fest? It's
but
I'll get back on that one. But those are they're big shows. You know what I mean?
So we talk about the structure of the show. We talk about the Owen tourney. But the structure of the show leads into the advancement of storylines, right? Because of how the show was structured, they were
full gear. That's what I meant.
Full gear. Okay,
full
cool.
Or no,
right.
Whenever it happened, yeah.
So with the structure of the show and what you mentioned, they were showing the game and things like that. Tony Khan was conscious. I don't know how much he seems conscious, but unconscious sometimes too at the same time.
About that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he was conscious about Game 7 and was like, yeah, I will be very, deliberate of how my show is structured. So therefore, but a lot of people was like, if I pay $50 for Double or Nothing, or if I go to Legends or whatever the case may be, like I'm watching wrestling, like I'm tuned in. I'm not double screening, so you should structure your show the way it needs to be, so it's not those lulling moments within the show, right?
Yeah, but but I would say this, those low moments, if you are screen hopping, is good for you, and you get what you need. If you are an AEW fan or Mark, whatever you want to say, it's still good for you because you get to see matches that you care about that other people might not care. Like the Sammy Guevara match. Did I care about it? But it had a story, it had an angle, and I think that yes, that this is getting Sammy over as a heel definitively what they did.
Absolutely.
But was it a match that could have happened elsewhere? Absolutely. It was a match. But if you're watching the game, then you don't need to fucking check in on Sammy unless you were like, man, I'm really conflicted. I gotta watch Sammy Guevara on a tag team match with Taya. I mean, are you really gonna care that much?
It was a match with 5 heels and Frankie Kazarian. That's what
I know, right? It was, which is odd, but I think that even the heels were the faces because Sammy right now is like he has super heat, right now. He has that X-Pac heat. They said I don't even know where that came from, but he has heat, man. And I think he's buying into it. And this is the Sammy that I want to see all along. He didn't need the inner circle. He doesn't need that babyface fighter thing that he was doing where he's gonna be a fighting champion. No, he needs a bad bitch
and a bad attitude.
To make people feel jealous.
A bad bitch and a bad attitude.
Yes, exactly. I think, like I told you, both him and Conti looked like they were badass kids when they were growing up, and they deserve each other. So I think that they were born heels, and I think that they are doing great work. And I think that Tainara Conti honestly is in line to get a women's championship match soon down the line because she's improved a lot. But other than that, man, I think it was a great show all around. We got to definitely get into the main event with Punk in a bit, but before we get,
go ahead.
No, Bill. Before we get into that, what did you like from the event? What matches outside of the main event did you say what was worth it to you?
So for one, shout out to Keeks, who is the newest member of the Public Enemy Network podcast network or Public Enemy TV. She's doing her own show on Tuesday about All Elite, and she put a tweet out and said that Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa had the best American women's match this year, best technical match. And a lot of people was like, Becky and Bianca. She was like, bitch, I said what I said. I said the most technical match with Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa. And to be honest,
but I'm glad she put the tweet out. Well, stand on your opinion.
Technically though, technical prowess. We talking
Becky
about
and Bianca. They still technical.
Bro. Serena Deeb is Dean Malenko, nigga, and
I
Bianca,
feel you. All right,
Becky
but let's be real here. Becky Lynch is also very technical. To me, there was moments in that match that were technical. Granted, it added other spots to it, of course.
Correct.
But to discount the impact of that match over the best, okay, just because something is very, very technical doesn't mean it's better than any other women's match.
We had a reasonable debate. We had the best technical wrestler. Kurt Angle is considered to be, nigga, he's an Olympic gold medalist. Nobody is out technical Kurt Angle.
I'll say this. They can have that. If you want to say that, they can have it. You want to have the most technical women's match of the year, go for it. It doesn't mean it's the best match of the year. So what do you want to be? And we can talk about match quality as far as it comes to what do people want to see. And granted, this is not taking anything from Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. I love the match. It was good. I wanted Serena Deeb to pull out the victory, honestly. I love both of them. Thunder Rosa is a star. I love her, but I think that she's such a star that she doesn't need the title. I think that Serena Deeb could have used it right now as a heel, and she just took out Hikaru Shida. Like everything that she built up to her promo before the match, or before the week going into the match. Well, listen, I shaved my head to show how much I wanted and still got no respect. I love that because I remember when she shaved her head, was in a straight A society, and they fired her like months after that. I was like, yo, for a woman to shave her head and then get fired, back then I was like, yo, that's fucking cold, yo.
It's like
But
Tyra Banks type shit, my nigga.
yeah.
Tyra Banks had that bitch on the American Top Model, shaved her head and booted down.
For real. But yeah, it's a thing where I believe they're gonna make the changes with the title. I think Thunder Rosa's gonna hold it for a while, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was the best match. I think that tag team match was awesome. I think Kyle O'Reilly and Darby was crazy.
You talking about the triple threat tag match?
Yeah, triple threat tag match was good, but
now you can't talk about people should have had a title or somebody else should have won or not should have won, and look at those 6 men and tell me the little white nigga and the dinosaur should have beat 4 black niggas.
I can't say that. I can't. Okay. You're right. I think that
little short white nigga and the dinosaur, my nigga.
It was a good match. I think that when it comes to tag team, Jungle Express is a more over tag team, so a business choice. It's better for the company. But as far as my favorite wrestlers in that match, honestly, all 4 of those guys are like more than
Hobbs and Starks needed that.
Hobbs and Starks, I think, is really
Hobbs and Starks.
I think that they're the ones that needed it. You're right.
Needed those tag team championships.
Hobbs and Starks has a lot of good chemistry. I think that them as a tag team could really work, and they can be a really solid tag team for like a while. But because you got the powerhouse, and then you got the technical, and the
bumper.
The showman.
Ricky gonna bump like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that to tie in a little bit what we was talking about with Wrestling with Whiteness, right? Ricky was on that documentary as well and spoke about the relationship between him and Hobbs and how refreshing and how connected they are due to the fact that they kind of come from because the basis of it is we're all we say all black people in the monolith, but we all damn near come from the same type shit. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's how we're typecasted, looked upon, opportunities all black people have experienced the same type of experience. The togetherness, the bond that wrestling creates among we see it with Keith and Swerve, right? Mm-hmm. We call it and we're like, damn, yeah, you're not supposed to throw black people together, but shit, when black people see each other, they like, I say that. You know
I know I can work with you. I know I can get along with you.
Exactly.
It's a thing where I don't think that you should throw anybody together, unless they really have chemistry, Now, is it likely that more white guys will have more chemistry with white guys and black guys with black guys? Yeah, obviously, but, because you guys come from the same place sometimes. But then we get one of the world's greatest tag teams in Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, which they bonded over their collegiate background in wrestling, and made for a phenomenal tag team. I don't want a tag team thrown together just because there's 2 guys on the roster.
Correct.
I want a tag team that they can.
I want to have some chemistry, and I think Hobbs and Starks with that tag team title run that would have only enhanced and built that chemistry to make it a dom. And also, Team Taz needs something, man. They don't have anything to kind of make them a formidable type of faction.
They don't have anything to make them a formidable stable or faction. But what is a formidable stable faction? The Baddies.
Oh my God! Hold on, let's
listen. I'm not sure if we want to get into it now, but they were on the show as well, and there was a huge debut. Stokely Hathaway came, and it looks like he's going to be affiliated with the Baddies. I cannot wait to see what he does with them.
Nah, fuck that. Since we're here, we gotta
go with the flow, man.
We gotta go with the Baddies, bro. Come on, man. Listen. These 3 women, right? They are our book in black for the week.
They are.
Okay, so we about to, you know what I'm saying? They are book in black for a week, and I mean, why?
They're my favorite stable in AEW.
They're my favorite stable of all time.
For obvious reasons.
I've been wrestling 32 years, and these bitches for the past 3 weeks have been my favorite stable of all time. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I can't say enough about how much first of all, how far women's wrestling has come. I think that,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
and how much talent there is on the roster. But having 3 women of color come together who are legitimately all baddies and then create a group called the Baddies on AEW for the times that we're in right now is one of the best things I've seen on TV.
Let's
And to
talk about
surround
how
Jade Cargill with Red Velvet, one of the best workers on the roster, in my opinion, as far as the women's roster, and Kiera Hogan, who's coming up as well, who's doing great work. They both work. They can both talk. I can't to see what they do next, but you can fuck it up too. They better give them. They
you
get to
can't
treat
fuck
them
it
with the
up.
respect
Hold
these
on.
queens deserve. That's what
I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm not even gonna let you finish your thought. They can't fuck it up because you know how. Listen, they plucked that white nigga away and brought my nigga Stoke Dog. And what I'm telling you is that is enhancement upon enhancement around that motherfucker.
It is. Who puts it all together?
Bro, hold on.
With the Baddies, come on, like it's gonna be
gold.
gold.
And I want to talk about the influence our culture has on this motherfucking business, right? Let's not ever disrespect, take for granted, and motherfucking discount the motherfucking culture is alive and well in wrestling. And y'all niggas better start giving some respect. Y'all niggas better start motherfucking watching.
Let's give some respect to Stokely Hathaway. This guy is supremely talented. We saw him do stand-up, bro. He doesn't have to do wrestling. He was pretty damn funny. He can just take his what do you mean?
He can take his talents to South Beach, my nigga. You know what I'm saying?
He doesn't have to, but he chooses to come back to AEW. I'm sure they threw the bag at him because he's that talented, you know. And he's he never got to his peak in NXT.
I gotta say this right quick. Tony Khan did not meet Stokely Hathaway until the day he was signed. Is that good business practice?
I mean, meet him.
Know him.
He didn't know him at all.
Didn't know him. Didn't know, speak.
I wouldn't think that's good business practice. I don't even get how he got signed. If
his non-compete was up on Friday and he was available on Saturday, and they got him to come on Sunday.
Wait, who hit him up though?
Who has the money, nigga?
So Tony Khan hit up Stokely.
I'm assuming.
So you talked to him prior.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I just said he didn't know him until he signed him.
But he probably saw him somewhere. I mean, if you see talent in the wrestling world, and you're like, you know what, I want that talent on my show, or you know, then maybe he doesn't watch NXT.
Would you hire somebody you don't know?
I wouldn't hire anybody that I've not seen do what I want to do in this business. If you haven't seen somebody wrestle, don't hire them as a wrestler. If you haven't seen somebody manage, don't hire them as a wrestler. If you haven't seen somebody produce, that's, I guess, the backstage stuff. You might want to just trust somebody's knowledge on how they produce by their resume. But when you're talking about on-screen talent, if you haven't seen them perform, I wouldn't hire them. Now, I would hope that Tony Khan saw a clip on YouTube or saw something on social media, or somebody showed him something and say, hey, look at this guy. He just left NXT. And now, granted, I don't know who said this. I'm not sure if this is true. I'm not sure. I mean, if Tony Khan said it himself, then it's kind of all right. I guess that's not the best way to do business. But at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck because I'm glad Stokely Hathaway is with the Baddies. You know, I mean, I think
I don't care how that nigga got there, brother.
I don't care how he could have freaking airdropped him, and they could have, I don't care. But he's gonna bring this stable full circle. And when I look at them, I see future women's champions. And if they do a women's tag team division, which they have enough talent to do, they probably have more talent to do a women's tag team division than WWE does. Not now, if you count all the brands, WWE can do a women's tag division. But if you look at the way they do their structure of their shows, AEW's talent is very widespread. So I can see Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet being a women's tag team champion, or and I honestly, Jade Cargill, obviously we can talk about her. She's a star. So Book and Black, I just want to see them more character. Every time I'll see them, I want to see more character, more interactions with the woman, and more. I can't wait for the Jade versus Britt Baker feud. I don't care if it's for the AEW Women's Championship or the TNT Women's Championship.
I don't want to see that because Britt can't work.
What are you talking?
Can we be honest?
Britt can't work. Are we really gonna do that? Like Britt can't work. We all know.
Hold on. Britt, you. Okay. Because I don't like hyperbolic statements, so I won't say that. Britt's a worker. Britt can work. Britt's not a worker to the fact that I trust her with Jade, because who leads? That match is going to be sloppy. That match is going to be plotty. That match is not going to be entertaining.
I want the story going into the match.
I want
Jade. Then when we get to the match,
that's
I want to see how they do it. They got to throw them into the fire and see how the match goes. Now, we all know Jade's, 2 years into this. I think that she's going to get better and better over time. Obviously, she looks the part. She speaks the part. So Jade is not going to have a problem, as far as her career goes. Now, as far as the work rate goes and how she gets over in the ring, that I think she is still going to be improving over time. But that's a work in progress. It's going to happen like gradually. And I think she hasn't done bad, but she hasn't had one match where
that ain't who I said. I ain't say nothing about Jade. I said Britt.
No, I'm talking about Jade because we're talking about the baddies. But I know
you said the future.
But when I'm talking about with Jade, you said who's going to lead. You said who's going to lead. Does Jade? And my point is that Jade doesn't necessarily need to be led. It's the fact that she's having decent matches already. Now granted, Britt Baker will take the lead because guess what? Britt Baker has had great women's matches in AEW. I haven't seen Jade have one match where I'm like, that's going to stand the test of time yet. I haven't. And I love Jade Cargill.
Brett hasn't either. Let's not do
Brett
that.
has had Thunder Rosa matches that you're going to remember. She's had matches with a bunch of women. I mean, and if you're really watching,
I'm not going to back you down with that because we're not going to get bogged down. You said a bunch of women.
She's had 2 classic matches with Thunder Rosa.
You just named one woman. That's it. Thunder Rosa. That's it.
So, yeah. She's had a match at least that stand the test of time. She had a match again with who was it a couple weeks ago? Fuck. It was a good match.
The test of time, right? So I get you. A couple weeks ago, the test of time. You can't remember what it was, but what I'm telling you is
here's the thing. My point is that she didn't have a bad match. I'm not saying that's the classic match. I'm saying that she's not a bad worker. Like if she's a worker, you trust her to go out there and work. My point is that those are the 2 biggest women's wrestlers on the roster. The baddies by the side of Jade Cargill versus Britt Baker and her 2 women is going to be money right there. I don't care if they even have a great match. It's just money right there.
I would say that shit to Jade, that shouldn't be the magnum opus, right? If we're talking about
who else is.
Well, for one, you just said Britt don't have the title. So I think the person who has the title is whoever has the title is Jade's magnum opus. And hopefully it's somebody, like you say, a Thunder Rosa, who I believe can enhance the story, not just on the mic, but enhance the story in the ring. Me and you talk about it all the time. Work rate and match quality happens within those 4 ropes. Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, I think Stokely in itself can carry us. That's why he's an addition, right? That's why he's an advancement of the baddies. Stokely can carry a talking point of a storyline like in no other. So he can cover any shortness
that Thunder Rosa has on character.
Thunder or Jade, because Jade only got cut this shit, Tony, and I'm that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like she still also, if we're talking about the work that she has to do, the work that she has to do to be the megastar is the confidence that she translates on the mic. You see what I'm saying? Like the work, she can work like The Rock all she wants, but if that motherfucker is as fluent as The Rock on the mic, that shit can take her places.
Yeah. She don't need to be the best worker in the world, but I feel like she does. She will, and she does need to continue to improve.
Correct.
In the ring,
so I think right now for me, I would love to see. I love Jade and Chris Statlander. I love that statuesque. The
Amazon fight.
Yo, it's gonna remind me of Rhea and Bianca in some ways of the stare down, the shoulders, the motherfucking height. Like they got the build to be like, all right, women can put horse matches on too, and I think that is a money fight for me because I think
have they had that yet?
No, Chris and Jade is gonna be a new.
Okay.
And I think Chris can take the title off of Jade, and Jade can then elevate to the women's championship. That is how
that Chris Statlander is the one to beat the undefeated Jade Cargill.
I don't think Athena should be. I think Athena should.
I don't think Athena should be either. I'll be honest with you. I don't like that.
I don't think Athena should be.
But congratulations to Athena, to joining all Elite Wrestling.
100 with you, Athena.
I want the old Athena. If you want to come back as Athena, I want the old Athena. Like, I want her to show out. Yeah, I think that her and Jay is gonna be great. So, Book and Black, I think that's what's coming up next. I think that we're gonna expect to see that sometime soon. But I would have Jade go over. I would have the Baddies get over in that act with Stokely. But me personally, I think that after that, I think that you're looking at Thunder Rosa, have her drop the title to maybe Chris Statlander after that. My opinion is have Britt Baker come after Jay Cargill, says I'm the one to defeat your undisputed streak. Have Britt come after, and that match right there, TNT Women's Championship, you don't know who's gonna win because Britt could likely take the title. And then she can go after Thunder Rosa. So that's how I'm looking at it all. Britt just got the Owen Cup, Queen of Hearts. So now she can come after the TNT Championship after, Jade has some more wins underneath her.
Britt beating Jade, I'm not having that. I know we got our differences of opinion.
I'm not saying that she should be beat. I'm saying that match has the going into that match. Let's say it's on pay-per-view. There's an intrigue of a women's match, a big money match that you don't know who the victory is going to be. You don't know who's going to win. Right now, anybody that faces Jade, including Chris Statlander, Jade's winning to me, in my mind. Jade's not losing this.
I don't know. Chris came back and changed the image, changed the gimmick, changed the stat.
So did Ruby Riott. And where is she at?
No, Ruby, no. And that's the point. That's the whole thing that we talk about. Britt. Why did Britt beat Ruby twice? Now, I understand Britt not losing the AEW championship to Ruby. I get that. But why the fuck Ruby couldn't win the OR championship and get her win back from Britt Baker?
Because you need that shot with her man up there with the title.
Okay, so all right, so sacrifice Ruby for Britt Baker. Great.
Britt honestly is a bigger star than Ruby.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. If you're a bigger star than the nigga, you don't need the fucking win. Just like CM fucking Punk. Let's get into it. If you the fucking man, my nigga, what you need the belt for, dog?
Why you hate CM Punk so much?
Why do I hate CM Punk so much? Because for 434 days, that nigga was champion.
Give this guy his props.
He was a bitch ass nigga. That's why.
Give that guy his props. Put his image up there. There's a new.
I don't even have his image up here. I don't even think I don't even.
You should have downloaded it. It's in the drive, man.
Fuck that nigga, bro. Put the Baddies back there.
You're a hater. You're a hater. This guy is a hater. Listen. CM Punk, new AEW, champion. I hear you, man. I hear you. You're right. Does he need the victory? No. But CM Punk is a draw. And I think that if Hangman's going to lose to anybody in the company, why not CM Punk?
Why not MJF?
Oh, MJF is still going through his contract disputes. We'll get into that in a minute. But they were building a Wardlow match with MJF because they got to get Wardlow away from him. And they succeededly did that. And Wardlow had a great match. Not a great match, but great squashing of MJF. And he got what he got, which as it should happen. He's a massive human who got his revenge on his boss, per se. Now he has his freedom, which is great storytelling for Wardlow. But CM Punk, his story from coming back till now and overcoming the odds and becoming champion. Now, is it the choice I would have made? I don't know.
What odds? The nigga came back and fought Darby Allin, Eddie King. He had no fucking adversity. And from my knowledge, hold on. From my knowledge, CM Punk only passion was to wrestle, not to be champion. This is a fucking ego move, my nigga. And don't tell me it's nothing different.
This is a money move. This is a look at the ratings.
What money, nigga? You already took the money from
look at the ratings. Let's see who on this chart is drawing most merchandise, most time, on the most ratings time. Who spikes our ratings? CM Punk does. CM Punk is somewhat of a household name. So him winning the championship is not crazy to me. Now, granted, he didn't have the greatest match with Hangman Page. Out of all Hangman Page's challengers, I think this might have been his worst match.
The worst.
But I think that
the worst.
that Hangman Page.
Is it on Punk or is it on Page?
It's on Page.
Huh?
It's on Punk. It's on Punk. But
okay.
So
no, follow me down this road. Follow me.
I know where you're going, man.
Listen, we back. No, we back. Fuck that. Hold on. Let me drop some more fucking bombs, man. Listen. Punk was his worst match, his worst challenger, his worst fucking build, and his worst storyline feud. But yet we're gonna give the title to Punk.
I hear you, man. And I'm not saying you don't have a point on it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with CM Punk being champion. I think this is a time to pivot from Hangman. I think it's a perfect time to do it. I think that CM Punk being champion, I saw it coming a mile away. If you think about it,
I'm gonna let you finish.
People went crazy in that bar when Punk Called the Personality came on. As much as you want to say, oh, the match itself wasn't great, and you're right. I agree. It could have been better. I believe that the reaction is the feeling that people get when they see CM Punk when he comes out. When he comes out to that, when he comes out to the MJF, and everybody remembers his ROH music, all those moments is a hardcore fan base of AEW, coming true. CM Punk being a champion again. The people been chanting his name for years to just come back to wrestling. Now to see, so there's only right that this guy becomes a champion again. And you can see that what I meant by what he's overcoming, I'm talking about overcoming. I'm talking about him overcoming everything to his own emotional demons to say, this thing that I loved hurt me more than I thought it could hurt. Like when he went through WWE, he was hurt by it clearly, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to return to the ring. And he came back, overcame that, and was a huge and is part of this, fledgling company, and has a moment to embrace, his stardom that he's always the fans been wanting. They've been clamoring for CM Punk. Now, granted, I hear you, man. He's an old man now. He's not quite as nimble as he used to be. He didn't have the best match. And maybe this isn't the right decision to some people, and I can see where you're coming from. But it's not the wrong decision by any means, because when you look at the ratings, when you look at the way people react to the guy, when you come out, when CM Punk comes out there, when he's on a mic, people react. When his music comes on, people say it's clobbering time. The whole bar was going crazy. It's not, and I'm like, hey, go back and check it out. I'll post it on.
Chidi, guess who else we had this argument about when we had episode Big Dog Draws? You said Jungle Boy was a motherfucking pop too, nigga. Right? You said
he is, and that's why he's tag team champion. That's like you're making my point for me.
No, but what I'm saying is that listen, CM Punk is not a part-time wrestler. He's a full-time wrestler. But he's the most part-time, full-time wrestler that there is.
What does that even mean, bro?
You want to say?
You just hate on this nigga.
I'm okay. Listen, bro. How you gonna say you hear my point and you gonna say I'm a hater, nigga? Like you hear my point, then I hear what I'm saying.
When you said didn't make sense to me, I was like, most parts. I'm gonna wait. Go ahead.
Okay. He's a full-time wrestler. He got upset with Batista because Batista was coming back as a part-time wrestler to be a champion, and he was taken away from the boys, right? The boys that bust their ass, storylines, the people, full-time wrestlers who deserve that spot. CM Punk to come back to this company, AEW, this company, because he felt the passion. He saw the passion. He saw that there was growth in this and people love this business. Why not elevate Page and give him one of the biggest wins of his fucking career by beating the legend of CM Punk to continue the reign of Page? Because Page is AEW's #1 star. He is the one who actually fought fucking demons, the one who actually took time off of work, the one who actually had to get his shit together and come back and win that title. And he only been champion 6 fucking months. And you're saying that he had
a short time.
No, it's not a short time, but is it a long enough time for his reign to be significant?
I don't think it is. But Page is
that's
awesome.
my point. That's my
here's
point.
the thing. I just want to say, here's the thing. CM Punk is not going to be around for another 10 years. Hangman Page should be around for another. He's going to have his moments. Granted, Hangman Page right now, he's not as over as CM Punk, period. He's a champion. He's not as over as CM Punk. That's my point. He's not. And he's great. Hey, Cowboy shit wasn't as over. But what I'll say about Page, and I'm going to tip my cap and bow down to him, he has some of the best AEW championship matches out of all their champions. I'm going to be real. He did. Other than this match, I would say all the other matches, Daniel Bryan, shout out to Lance Archer, he with Murder Hawk, that he's had great matches. Adam Cole, so I look at it like this. He's going to get his. But there's only a short few moments you're going to have with CM Punk where you have the opportunity to give the fans this moment. Because wrestling to me is about moments. And this moment with CM Punk to me is very apropos for his story if you've watched what's going on for the past decade with CM Punk.
Okay, I watched what happened with CM Punk for the last decade, and from what I understand, his gripe was not to be champion. His gripe was to find the passion and the love for wrestling.
But for him to come full circle 20 years later, come full circle and become champion again, it's a redemption.
This is not the story. This is not the fucking story for it.
No, they maybe not, and that's subjective.
He threw this shit together, and it was like I'm defending. He threw the story together. After the emotional win from fucking MJF, how did CM Punk become positioned to be champion? I mean, to be challenger.
He has one of the best records in AEW.
Okay, and who gives a fuck? What was the story after that?
The story was that Hangman Page is defending AEW against CM Punk because
they told it the very last day, the very last Dynamite before the pay-per-view. CT, that wasn't the story going into it. You're that.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're right. If you want to talk about the show, the TV show, you have a lot of valid points as far as how they got here. But the decision making of putting the title on Punk, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's a bad idea, man. I'm not, because it changes the dynamic. I think that Hangman Page's run, where do you go from here? I don't know.
Where do you go with Punk?
There's tons of places.
Tell me.
He's facing Tanahashi next at Forbidden Door.
He's not losing to Tanahashi. Okay.
Listen, I'm not saying he's losing the title, but that match is gonna matter.
Adam Page couldn't wrestle Tanahashi, my nigga. Adam Page couldn't get that spot to put the fucking AEW fucking pack on his back and wrestle fucking New Japan's ace. No, Adam Page couldn't have that moment.
I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But we're getting a match that we probably wouldn't never thought. And Adam Page has wrestled Tanahashi. So if you want, you can check it out on the New Japan Network, wherever their shows are. You can watch Hangman versus Tanahashi. We've never seen CM Punk versus Tanahashi. And you're not going to have him for long enough to get more matches with this guy. So you might as well throw it out there. And as a pure wrestling fan who's like, dream matches and all that stuff, AEW tries to make that happen for us, whether it's putting people in together that you didn't think CM Punk and MJF, but you have to have that name to have there be dream matches, and CM Punk is one of those guys. You can't have him on your roster just having matches for the whole year. This is the moment where you can say, you know what, you gave him a contract, and I'm sure you paid him very well, nigga. You got to put this company on your back and take it to the next leg wherever we're going with AEW, and CM Punk got to go take it.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's since we're here, let's talk about that. CM Punk's the champion. He's the guy now. And he has experience being the guy. And we have data to show that when he was the guy, he wasn't that significant as being the guy. 10 years later, it's different. It's a different guy. It's a different moment. It's a different company. It's a different guy. CM Punk is a different guy. Is there a needle mover? Is CM Punk the needle move? I know that's a fancy hashtag for Roman and shit like that.
Not the way that people were looking at it as far as a Roman Reigns or John Cena. He's not that, but he is gonna move the needle. Put it that way. Does that make sense to me? CM Punk's I guess that means he's a needle mover to some degree. But if you're talking about the level of a mega star that WWE is looking for, no, but for where AEW is at, he's absolutely a needle mover. They're not WWE. They can't act like they are. But for CM Punk to come out of retirement to AEW, he's a needle mover to me. And I think that going forward, this is going to test the time to show if CM Punk is going to be the best he can, like in the world again. If he's going to have to be trying to show that match with Hangman Page wasn't what we're going to get as U.S. champion. And hopefully he has something to prove because, yeah, he did have a couple of botches out there. And as the main guy, you have to do better. And even if you were older, we can look at Hulk Hogan and The Rock. Hulk Hogan was mad old, but he had a great match with The Rock, and it's a classic. We want to see that, where you're at right now, CM Punk, and show off as a wrestler on the mic as the complete package that he always was. And I believe in CM Punk. He will, bounce back from this as a champion. And as far as his contract, you pay him this much money to do that, to take your company to the next level. And I do believe for AEW, he is a needle mover, I would say. But he's not. I don't want to compare him to a John Cena coming to AEW or a Roman Reigns or even a Bray Wyatt.
Let's talk about it. We said we were going to talk about Tony Khan. We were talking about, now this is a great segue. He had the medium scrum with CM Punk, and he had to justify. He responded to Eric Bischoff, which we'll read about what Eric Bischoff said. But he responded to Eric Bischoff saying that CM Punk was one of the biggest financial liabilities in professional wrestling for the simple fact that he didn't think that the number it's almost like, right? Okay. Do you care who's calling your NFL games? You personally.
Good question. No, I don't care. I'm personally me. I don't care.
Okay, so $17 million, $18 million for Tony. So $17 million for Tony Romo, $18 million for Joe Buck, $37 million for fucking Tom Brady. None of that fucking money matters because the content of what we're watching is the game. Correct?
Yeah.
So that. And pretty much what Eric Bischoff was saying, like, yo, you paying the guy, and I don't think he's like, is he going to get you any more is he going to get you more advertisement dollars?
Can you read what he said?
Yeah,
I believe that because I got something to say on that because I hear where he's coming from, but
so Eric Bischoff, okay, so shout out to Eric Bischoff took jabs at CM Punk because I guess CM Punk stated, in the context of the story, CM Punk stated that him, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson arrival at AEW was bigger than Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash in WCW, which is hyperbolic in itself. But I don't know why we spend too much time on. That's why I don't like hyperbolic statements. That for one is why I don't like it, because it creates conversation that is nonsensical. Like there's no point of having this conversation. Right? Because now Eric Bischoff
is just to get your shit off, pretty much.
But why does Punk need to get his shit off? Why does he need to get his shit off?
Because they ask him questions at a media scrum. If you're at a media scrum and I'm getting asked questions, I'm gonna probably say some hyperbolic statements. Because I'm gonna say, listen, I think that this is bigger. Because that's how big that moment was to him. And he has the right to say it. Doesn't make it fact, but if he feels that way, then so what? He can say it, Let him speak his truth. Now, Eric Bischoff, when he hears that, how he reacts is on Eric Bischoff. That's
now we're gonna dive back into that media scrum conversation because I got
for sure.
I got something to bring up because the way journalism is in wrestling is funny. It's fickle. And it's fake as fuck.
It is.
With all those F's, my nigga. I want to keep that in there, my nigga. Like, y'all niggas, you know what I'm saying? And the media scrum to ask those questions and the nigga to say, yeah, this shit bigger than Hogan and Savage. And, like, nigga are like, okay, how? Right? Because Tony Khan in this fucking, in this.
Well, Eric Bischoff, let him feel that way. You don't got to go and shit on CM Punk after that.
Hold on. Okay. Now I'll get back to that because why let him feel that way is false.
We don't know. We don't know, honestly.
How we don't know when Adam Cole clearly let's compare him. Let's compare him.
Oh, let's go.
Right now in the company, Cole Punk Danielson. Outsiders Randy Hogan. It's not a fucking comparison. That's my point.
Today, yeah, that's true. Like today, based off of history, we can say it's not a comparison because it just happened last year.
No, we can't.
We don't know what the impact of this is going to do for AEW until I will give it another 10 years to see, okay, what did that do for wrestling? And then there will be a conversation. What did this moment do for wrestling? Now, I get it,
okay.
you know, and
okay.
You know, and it might not be. You know, as I said, right now, it's not.
So Eric Bischoff responded to that and said, he wasn't trying to pick a fight, but he believes that Punk is currently the biggest financial flop in the history of wrestling. Punk has some very edgy comments that I'm assuming were directed to me because they were in response to something Conrad and I said in a very interesting conversation about current wrestling. But evidently he got a little case of ass rash and decided to lash out on social media. So he said this. I published his quote. I didn't make anything up. I took his quote and posted it and said, "How's that working out?" Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm reading this for the first time. Give me some. Okay, here it says, "How many millions of dollars in net profit and T-shirt sales is he doing? Nobody knows, and we're responding to a comment that aren't backed up," which is what I'm saying. If somebody can show me, then I'll eat my words, and I'm happy to do that. I'm wrong a lot. I'm aggressive, and I talk shit, but I'm not always right, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay.
So far, all we get is he's selling out so much merchandise. How much is he selling? By the way, once the initial excitement of anybody, not just CM Punk, you bring in, you launch a new T-shirt, new merchandise is a big hit, and it levels out. Something new, and if you're not really over, you can continue to come up with new merchandise and fill a tank. I don't know if that's true. So pretty much he's saying, I'm saying this is what he's saying. Not pretty much. He's saying this. I'm not saying he certainly hasn't had any impact on advertising. Only Turner Broadcasting would know that. Nobody at AEW would know that because AEW doesn't sell their own advertising. Turner does. In terms of the context of Punk comparing himself to Randy, Scott, Nash, and the impact of WCW versus Punk coming out and saying he's a bigger deal in terms of rating, he's falling flat on his face. He came out to a $1.17 million. He came out to a 1.17 million people on a Friday night debut on Rampage. It's down to 400 and 500,000 on average. Punk on Dynamite did his premiere 1.29, and they came out, and now they're hovering around 900,000, which they've been doing for, I don't know, a year and a half, and they didn't need Punk to do so. So, I mean, empirically, he's not
wrong. Absolutely not. But wrestling is not in the same space it was in the 90s. You know, Eric Bischoff is a TV guy. He's a TV guy, so he's going to look at it from a place. I do think that he's a little salty because he's like, all right, you know, let's have this debate because that's his impact, you know. But I think he's kind of hating on AEW a lot. I do. I think that AEW is doing what he did in a different way, and people are having fun. People are having fun there. People are enjoying it. People want to be there. People are watching the shows are having fun. There's an energy about it that hasn't been with any company competing with WWE since WCW. And I think that he sees that. You know, at the end of the day, you don't need to cross the competition to make an impact. That's
not Punk's impact then.
Huh?
That's not Punk's impact.
No, I know. I'm just talking about AEW as a whole, and that, you know, he's a guy who ran a company, and he's a TV guy. So he's going to look at it from the TV numbers of how and the money, you know, and that's a great valid point. It's logical. It's, you know, you can track that, you know, and I hear where he's coming from. But as far as impact today in wrestling, that move, do I think it's as big? No. But then again, I was there as a kid when that happened, and I will see how the kids today feel about, you know, Daniel Bryan and them in 10 years moving, and then what that did for the wrestling atmosphere. Do I feel like wrestling is growing? I do. I do think that AEW being around for as long as it has and having the success that it's having, continuing to add talent and adding Punk, a guy who came back, makes them a viable company. They take every asset that is going to make them a better show and they try to work with it. And I do think that's a huge impact. As far as Hogan, come on. I think that's a bit much, personally, but I mean, everybody can have their opinion.
But that's the ego shit that I was talking about.
Punk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he has. Everybody knows that Punk has an ego.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, listen, you know how I am, right? Like, listen, don't bullshit a bullshitter, bruh. You came back for that rush because you don't do drugs. This the only drug that gave you a fix, my nigga. This the only thing that gave you that feeling, my nigga. You went to UFC, you was a dud, my nigga. You did broadcasting, you was a dud, my nigga. You didn't do nothing in your afterlife that fulfilled what wrestling is. That is an ego trip. When you come back and say you came back for the love, my nigga, then you come back for the love of the game. You come back, you say, okay, AEW, I know I'm not the guy, but my ego thinks that I am the guy. So let me take the ball and let me run with it. That ain't what you're supposed to do if you're a real OG in this business. If you're a real OG in this game, if you want to be the change that you say that you want to put, like you want to talk about when Sasha and Naomi situation happened, and he had this whole situation like, yo, we got stand up, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Swole happened about a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months before that. You was in the company, bro. Did you hold Tony feet to the fire when we talking about how we treat our people?
Absolutely. You speaking facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so Punk, when you that guy, you want to talk about, you want to hold the champion to me. I want to make this company money. I want to make not only myself money, but the company money. No, you started off by saying, I want to make myself money first.
That's true. As he should. He has the right to. He has the right to do that.
Elevate the cachet. For what? You CM Punk, you done made all the fucking money.
I'll tell you this right now. CM Punk is not Daniel Bryan. They're just two different guys. CM Punk is the veteran that comes back like Hulk Hogan for the glory.
But that's why he ain't got the love for me. That's why he ain't got the love for me like that, though.
Yeah.
That's why he ain't got the love for me. Because Triple H told me back in the day, you want to talk about 10 years ago, right? 2012 on Raw, Triple H with the ponytail said, nigga, you motherfucking put on the makeup of a martyr. You want to backdoor that shit. When I came in and told niggas that Punk should have came in from Jump Street like, I'm back, I feel good, and I want to be champion. If you tell me that from Jump, I know your motivation. I don't have to second guess it. I don't have to have this feeling that I have right now if you came in and been a G straight up off top and said, I'm coming back for the strap. But you didn't. Nah, he came back for the love. He came back and wanted to wrestle Bret Hart matches and shit.
Daniel Bryan said he came back, he's trying to kick people's faces in. That's what Daniel Bryan said. He's doing that.
That's what Daniel Bryan doing right now. Fucking title, fucking nigga. I'm stumping niggas' faces in, nigga.
I hear you. We know CM Punk is a very controversial figure in the wrestling community, but
he's a controversial.
Oh, come on, we can't do that to the guy, man. He got it. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you have a point.
If I was at that media scrum, I would have asked that nigga straight up. Like, I would have did the Drewski. What do you mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you wanna enhance this company? How do you do that? Because I understand dream matches of Hiroshi Tanahashi and CM Punk. Boom, right? Okay, we finally gonna get CM Punk and Kenta. Okay, boom. All right. But do any of those matches need the title?
That would have been better than Tanahashi.
Hold on, but does any of those matches need the title? CM Punk with his name can elevate the company and bring in that fucking cachet without holding the title.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, you're kind of swaying my opinion, but it's not a wrong decision from where AEW's at. I do think that seeing his reign is going to be interesting and how he holds it. But I wouldn't give it I wouldn't want him to have a super long reign. I'll be honest right now. I wouldn't want it to be a super long reign. But yeah, speaking of employees, you want to go to what WWE employees having problems with the company or AEW?
Well, let's wrap up and let's finish up. Let's wrap up AEW.
So we're talking about CM Punk's bag and how much he took to come in
we talked
AEW.
about listen. So also real quick. I appreciate the passion of Tony Khan. I appreciate what he brought to the atmosphere and in the spirit of wrestling. I appreciate his contributions to wrestling, but he does not need to be the face, right? He's being real Vince McMahon-y, being in front of the camera a lot. That media scrum.
Okay, the media scrum is not really being on camera. It's not on TV.
I mean, okay.
It's like a press conference after a game for a head coach. That's what it really feels like.
Yeah, but I mean, but he's an owner. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but okay. So
in wrestling, that's how they do it. The owner is not like distant and somebody runs it. They actually every day, telling people what to do and how to. They're
okay. So are we gonna hold him accountable for his actions at these press conferences?
I think that we should constantly hold Tony accountable.
But we did.
Huh?
That profane.
I've been holding Tony accountable after every time he says something fucking stupid. I've been holding him accountable the entire time on the spot. But
so this profane laced tyrant that he went on as a press conference where he was talking about, responding to Eric Bischoff and talking about CM Punk and how energized he was and how talking. But then he got asked by Andre about MJF, and he could be more meek. He couldn't be more mellow.
Okay, we'll get to MJF in a moment. But real quick about what you just said about the profanity. What did he say about Eric Bischoff? Did he curse him out?
What do you mean? You did not hear it? All right, hold on.
I want to just provide context to everybody listening because I do honestly, if he was on, because Tony Khan says a lot of stuff sometimes that I don't get why he goes there. He acts like he's a fan, and he's not.
He is a fan, brother. You heard what MJF said? The nigga a fan. Hold on, let me see if I can bring up this.
He's a fan that's paying MJF. I'll tell you right now.
What'd you say?
He's a fan that's paying MJF.
Well, clearly he ain't paying MJF enough.
Yeah. Yet. That's a big yet.
I don't know about if that's a big yet because okay. So when we talk about the media scrum and the MJF and CM Punk shit kind of ties in together, people that's with us, because MJF, right? CM Punk came in, got a pretty hefty payday, just like a lot of other people who came in, right? we talking about Adam Cole, we talking about Keith Lee, we talking about Shane Strickland, we talking about Athena, we're talking about who else? Those are big. Adam Cole, Daniel Bryanson, right? Those guys came in the last 6 months, a year, let's say 6 months, and grabbed up a lot of fucking paper. And because MJF was already in the contractual, right? You know how it goes sometimes. If niggas want to play hardball, like, nigga, we got you in a contract. We don't have to restructure.
MJF,
you signed, you know what I'm saying? Like,
MJF is like, he's like, here's the thing. MJF is in a contract dispute with AEW. I hear that MJF has been talking for weeks, flirting with WWE. I've seen it on different, media outlets and podcasts and, YouTube shows where he's outwardly saying, he's frustrated, He doesn't show.
I want to pause you on that because MJF goal, he's always this is past weeks. Like, let's just keep it a buck. MJF prior to goal was always to make it to WWE. Now AEW, yes, came along the way and is right, but we're still talking about I'm playing in the G League or I'm playing in the League. You dig? Like, niggas don't have to go to college, can make $100,000 playing in the G League, But that $100,000 is pennies compared to when you in the fucking time you making some millions.
Yeah, exactly. So he's one of the AEW originals. Let's start there. MJF obviously is one of the AEW originals. He got a contract. He
And those
outperformed his
contract
contract.
those contract starters started at 40 to 70,000.
He outperformed the contract. Yeah, if it started at that at a couple, tens of thousands. Apparently, you told me that he got an extra bump at some point.
Yep.
But it's still not as much as when WWE wrestlers came in and the contracts that he offered those WWE guys to come in. And
correct.
That shows value, especially when he's bringing the ratings. And if you saw Dynamite this week, MJF cut a pipe bomb promo for everything that's going down. And it honestly, I think is going to skyrocket MJF to the next level. It doesn't matter where he goes from here. It doesn't matter if he's in AEW. It doesn't matter if he's in WWE. But MJF promo just that week, it just took him from here to here, and he already was up here. So he was already at a head and shoulder above level than a lot of people on the roster as far as garnering emotion, and he spoke it into existence. Like we spoke into existence. I said, MJF makes you feel. He makes you feel. I said it months ago. Well, you can go back when we're talking about the CM Punk feud, and we can get that throwback and throw it out. But I said that he's a guy who makes you feel with everything he does. And that's why he gets what wrestling is in this day and age. He knows how to garner that emotion in this day and age, whether it's social media, whether it's on an interview. He takes his character to the next level. Whether with his crowd, in the crowd with his parents, whether he comes back to Long Island and turns into a babyface and, really talks his shit as a Long Island native, he knows who he is. And I appreciate that. Always have. And to think that MJF and MLW was going to get to this level, I didn't see that in them, but I don't think anybody saw this. I don't think anybody could see how good he was going to be. He's on a different level, and this was his Austin 316 moment. This right here was his Austin 316 moment. However, I got something to tell you guys, and I know there's been a conversation of it. Is this a work or not? Guys, to me, this is a work. I mean, I think that there's truth behind it completely, and that's what makes this a genius play. This is a genius play made by AEW. Even though, him not flying in to the event, I think was planned. I think that all that is meant to create this intrigue and of what if MJF leaves kind of moment. I think AEW fans clamor and hold on to their people. And the worst thing that could happen to an AEW fan is for them to leave and go to WWE. We all saw what happened with Cody. But if you're an AEW fan, original, yeah, that is going to make them feel something. So what do you do? You set up a moment where the most dastardly heel in all of wrestling is being selfish and wants to get paid. But at the end of the day, he has a right to be selfish and get paid as such because he literally is the best draw on outside of CM Punk, and that just is what it is, just facts.
Now let's keep it a buck though. Is he the biggest draw outside of CM Punk, or is he the reason why CM Punk's a draw?
People were shedding CM Punk in arenas for 10 years, bro. Let's stop it. Is he the reason why that happened? No. MJF is not the reason why CM Punk is a draw. Let's not go there. The disrespect is, I got you before, but the disrespect is like taking it to the next level now. But MJF has a point, man. He's that dude, and we've been saying it for a minute. However, I think this is a work, and I think that he will get signed. Tony Khan's not stupid. If Tony Khan doesn't sign MJF, it's a terrible mistake. If he doesn't re-sign him to a contract, and I think this is one of the most interesting stories in wrestling right now because you don't know if it's a work or not. Because I think it's a both. It's a work shoot. I think that it's taking a real life situation, turning it into an angle, and it creates for that magic moment in the ring where MJF pretty much is doing CM Punk by having his grievances aired, real grievances live on air, which to me was golden. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Honestly, I think that it's going to be interesting whether he stays in AEW. It's going to be interesting whether he doesn't and goes to WWE. Either way, MJF is a made man.
I will say that MJF's a main man. I will say that he's talked. He hasn't told this story like this, right? The entry, right? Hearing it from the horse's mouth type situation where you already kind of knew, right? We kept asking like, yo, how many guys are they going to bring in? How much time is going to be available? Like, what is going to, like, where's Darby going, right? What does Darby do? What, you know what I'm saying? Like, what, you know, at what point in
Darby
time
needs to elevate. Darby needs to, you know, he obviously find who he is. He's, you know, he's still young. He still got time. All these people got time. Like those AEW originals. People
got time, but they don't. MJF thought he had time. Tony Khan thought he had time with MJF, nigga, and he don't. You don't have time when these niggas understand their value. Ooh, right? So we can go and we can go ahead and kind of go with that with the Sasha and Naomi, because I feel like this, like, niggas is not keeping the same energy, right? Like, it's all about control when it comes to this. MJF wants to be in control of his own destiny. That's it. Like, it don't necessarily have to be with money, because whether he's on AEW or WWE, he's going to get that screen time, and he's going to have the ability to garner and get over. The point of the matter is that he's getting jumped in the pecking order. And he's like, oh, no. Let me go do the jumping, because I deserve doing the jump.
He's like, Jeff Hardy's getting what? What? Okay. I see what's going on here.
Jeff Hardy with known substance problems and actually did the same thing in WWE to get himself out of a contract and got money to come over here, which is more than me. Mm-hmm. Nah, brother. Nah, man. We had to create an Owen Hart tournament just to give Adam Cole some shit on TV, because he spent all his time with the best friends, my nigga. He wasn't drawing in no ratings either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I listen. But when we talk about Sasha and Naomi, right? This is the same type of thing. No, it ain't the money thing. It's the, like, nigga, this is my second time around with these tag team titles. I asked you for these tag team championships. We still not doing nothing with them niggas. And you want me to do what? Lose to who? For the sake of what? Now, MJF did all that he could, man. He built up Wardlow. He built Wardlow. He did. Right? He built that CM Punk feud. He built the Jericho feud. He built the Cody feud. Why the fuck is my nigga in the back of the line when it comes to opportunities?
Also, titles? You know what happened? Because you know what's happening right now? AEW is building MJF. AEW is giving him the platform to be built and paying him to be on a national stage. Now, when you do it for 3 years and you knock it out the park, I think MJF has a genuine gripe to say, listen, I'm not taking a back seat in this pay me now. And I think when we see it in football, we see it all the time where it's like, hey, these wide receivers this past offseason were like, no, I'm not coming back if somebody else is getting paid less. Cooper Kupp is getting paid how much? Oh, nah, I'm better. I know I'm better than that guy. Like I got to get mine now, because if you got it, I want it. You know, I'm not going to not.
And that's the point. He got it. That's the thing.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it.
No, why did – okay. My thing is this, and I get it. It's a word. But my thing is, why work yourself into a shoot? Why not – listen, if you went from 70 to 150, but CM Punk and them boys coming in making 400, 500, that's quadruple. That's at least triple than what I'm making. But when you're talking about the sweat equity, AEW became the place to be because I was here. That's the reason why you have the money to give these niggas. That's the reason why we read up on a contract. That's the reason why we are on television. And that's the reason why you put me on in the first quarter hour of every fucking show, is because I draw.
It's business, man. It's business. You see, the reason why WCW didn't have this problem because they had guaranteed contracts. They were the first company to have guaranteed contracts. Let's be real. So even niggas who weren't going to get as much as, let's say Disco Inferno, they're like, you know what? At least it's guaranteed. I'm not going to go anywhere else. No, you can go somewhere else now. You can go to WWE. You can go to MLW Impact, and you can figure it out. Or you can do the indie circuit and just you might even make more money, than you make on your shows within a year than you're making in just AEW, depending on what you're getting paid. Now, MJF is at a level now where he knows his value, and I'm glad he's flexing his worth on every opportunity he gets because he deserves it. He deserves it. And this promo, if Tony Khan didn't hear him before, he definitely has to hear him now because everybody heard MJF now. And he's right. So at the end of the day, if you got it, you got to give it. I mean, at the same time, Tony Khan's over here complaining about Jay Cargill's lift and how much it's going to cost per year. I get it. He has to think about those things. But certain things like an MJF contract, you don't got to think about.
And my thing is, too, don't start something you can't finish, right? Don't set the expectation of being a billionaire's Ted type nigga, and you ain't really got it like that. Now,
I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying that he's he's money conscious.
How can he be money conscious and paying? How can he be money conscious paying the Hardys what he paying? Or Mark Henry to say, hey, it's time to fight, or whatever the fuck he said, my nigga.
It's time for the main event.
This nigga paying Mark Henry to be Udonis Haslam, my nigga. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, shoot, man. Mark Henry has a good gig, man. I wish I could have a gig where I can just come and just it's time for the main event and just make a couple G's.
MJF. I don't care about. Go get your bread. I don't care about unprofessionalism, none of that shit. You talking to a nigga that done walked off plenty of jobs, nigga. I don't work now, motherfucker. What you mean? Nigga, I ain't putting up with shit I don't feel like putting up with, because at the same time, like Chidi say, it's money. You can go get money anywhere, dog. You know what I'm saying? You can sell fish plates, my nigga, and make that motherfucking $15 an hour in a day if you can motherfucking fry that fish right. So and that's not saying what I do. I fry chicken wings. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. I don't do none of that shit. I fry weed. This episode is brought to you. Quick commercial. Joint roller Ayato. This is what I'll be cooking up.
EIWshop.com. Check it out. Go grab a box.
But at the same time, like, I don't care enough at this point to know if it's real or fake or not. To me, right?
Yeah, I don't care either. Because all I know is it's good TV. It's good TV.
And to the same point of Sasha and Naomi. Because we going
Let's
blend right
into
into
that. Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care about Sasha and Naomi for the simple fact that, just like you say, Tony Khan's gonna get the money right with MJF. Well, we know that's what motherfucking Vince gonna do. Vince pay it. Vince done double back and paid everybody. I think Jeff Jarrett got a motherfucking bag right now. Nigga.
I think that eventually, both of these women will be back in WWE if they don't stay. But I will say this right now. I'm not sure if it's a contract dispute with them. I don't know. With them, the reason why I don't care and I can't really speak on the Sasha Banks and Naomi thing is that Sasha Banks and Naomi haven't said their piece. They haven't said anything. So I don't really know why they walked out. I have no idea. Now, to walk out in the middle of a show,
I do want to say that
you were being disrespected. And that's what I would think is, like, if you feel like you're being disrespected, then leave that bitch.
Yeah, no, that is actually the case. So when from what has been reported,
fucking buddies tag titles.
For what it has been reported, Sasha Banks and Naomi told their story through a mutual that got it out on Twitter to be like, so what if You know what I'm saying? You were told, and then you were told, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Can you find it? Because I need to know what happened. Because I don't know what happened. And mind you, we can't take this as stone cold facts.
That's what I'm saying.
But I would like to see what the person said, because if they're being disrespected, if it's just about the schedule changes and stuff like that, then that's everybody in WWE. But if it's like, we actually said something to them that was disrespectful, or they actually promised something that was actually supposed to happen, that not like just booking shit. Talking about like real, like, hey, listen, we want you to come in, repair. If it's a money issue, then no, yeah.
It's booking, but it's the disrespect in the booking, right? Because we spoke about it. Sasha Banks went on the Broken Skull podcast, and she said in her own words, like, she feels like she's on a level that what she wants, she gets, or what she wants is what she deserves. Uh-huh. So she's at a level where she says she's walking up the Vince door, like, you know what I'm saying? And we got to have a conversation. So
she's like on the Roman level.
So to make a long story short, Sasha Banks and Naomi was scheduled to be in a 6-pack women's challenge match to determine a number 1 contendership to face Bianca Belair at Hell in a Cell. At that point in time, clearly they're tag team champions, and it was supposedly reported, because again, we don't know, there's our hearsay, supposed to be reported that one of the two was supposed to take the fall on the other to then promote that champion, or to promote that person to be in a championship match. And then that other champion was going to then face the SmackDown champion to kind of, and again, the care or the non-care of the storyline, we're like, man, we're not doing this. So what was told was Sasha and Naomi went to Vince, got it changed the first time, and the producer did not like, or the writer did not like, that they were told to rewrite after they wrote what they wrote. And they went and told Bianca and they went and told Sasha and Naomi to kind of fix their faces or fix their attitude or stop being bratty to the something you can't tell black women.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell them about their attitude, my nigga. Like, we know this by now. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell a black woman about her attitude, my nigga. You can't.
Wow.
That's like, if there was 11 commandments, that would be the 11th, my nigga. Thou shall not tell black women about her attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been on the fucking stone. So with that being said, they went back and was like, hey, that guy over there ain't really respecting the decision that was made upon the bosses, right? Bosses made this decision to get this shit changed. Tell that motherfucking peon to rewrite, motherfucker. That's your job. Right, bitch. Like, that's just, at that point, that's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying?
The Chris take, of how what thing went down. I got it.
The Chris translation.
Chris translate, the most high translation time. Go ahead, finish it up.
So with that being said, Johnny Ace then took the side. They're like, hey, Vince is not taking no more meetings, man. We're doing some, like I said, Tony Khan sometimes got to step back and got to have, not necessarily a Johnny Ace, but you got to have a Jack Tunney, nigga, somebody, motherfucker. Like, somebody be like, hey, he not taking no meetings right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he the owner. He the boss. What's going on? How can I help you? That was the point where Johnny Ace, Naomi, Sasha had the kind of conversation, and they didn't like the rewrite of the rewrite. And they was like, okay, we're not going to be doing this shit, bro. We got to, what's happening? And Sasha was like, we got you. This was going to happen. Put the titles down. Y'all figure it out. Because at this point in time, if y'all such great writers, nigga, then y'all going to have to figure this shit out. And they did, to her credit and to their credit. She proved the point. Y'all can make something better than this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the whole point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, I hear you. And I'm glad she stood on her morals, because a lot of people wouldn't, and I think that, does Vince care about the women's tag division? No. So I trust that whatever somebody wrote.
Sasha and Naomi.
Yes. Yeah. I do think he does. And at this point, we'll see how things work out in the future. But they also did walk out. They didn't wait and see what happens and said, hey, you know what? I'm not willing to do this match and just stay. They put the titles down and walked out. So they can't fix it, even if they wanted to at that point. So they never. So at this point, I think we'll see how it goes until we hear Sasha and Naomi from themselves. I really can't say much.
If you wanted to make them in singles matches, then yeah, it's best that you take the titles off. And they force the titles off them. So whenever they come back, let them be single stars. Fuck it. That's what they were. You know what I'm saying? But if you wasn't going to give them the care, right? If you wasn't going to give Boss and Glow versus the Liv Night, or they did the nightmare shit with Liv and Rhea, broke that shit up, right? It's not so many times.
No fucks about the women's tag division at all. They can't. Their patience with them is just super, super thin. They'll break up a tag team in a heartbeat. You had Rhea with freaking ASH, then with Liv, and then immediately once they started to get chemistry, immediately broke them up. Now Liv is with Edge. If Rhea doesn't get a women's championship soon, man, she's had a rough year. I'm gonna be real.
Rhea and Bianca's next. Gotta be next.
It has to be next. Bianca has to be next. Because if you don't go there, then Rhea's gonna be stale as a motherfucker. She's on Stillwater right now as Judgment Day. It was cool to see her get added, but still, she has to have that moment where she's back in the women's picture. I don't know what they're doing with Rhea, But speaking of
you brought up the tag team real quick, and it's been on my mind. It's something.
Let's wait. Let's finish Raw first. I want to get to that. Let's finish Raw first.
Well, I was going to get the Raw because we was talking about you said tag teams and Usos, new Raw tag team champions.
Yeah,
man.
I hear you. But we have a deeper conversation on this, and I want to hold off on that. I want to talk about a couple of things on Raw. Get that out the way first, because real quick, and we'll get to that. Bianca, Asuka, Becky. I told you, I believe Bianca's number one women's wrestler in the world right now. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. But that's who I look to see who's like the benchmark. Honestly, I would say Sasha Banks, honestly, but as far as who's on TV, who's had the moment, whose moment it is right now, you know what I mean? Like as far as who can go out there and do the job the best at any given night, I think it's still Sasha Banks. But as far as who has the moment at the top and on any show is Bianca. She hits on every cylinder every single week. And I think that in the ring, she delivers. And in this match, like you said, Rhea has to be next. You can't have Bianca lose to Asuka or Becky. So I wanted to just touch on the fact that the women's division of Raw has been the best thing about women's wrestling right now to me, because I see Asuka return. Her matches with Becky have been great. And I'm just excited to see these women perform in a triple threat, because I think that's going to steal a show. In my opinion, it's guaranteed to steal a show. For me, that's the match I want to see coming.
Yeah, man. Shit. My bad. I didn't mean to put that up there like that. Give me one
second. That's good. This is what we're talking about. Hell in a Cell. We don't need to preview it, but I just want to give a shout out to them and how they've been building this match. I didn't expect it to be a triple. I did expect it to be a triple threat. But when Asuka defeated Becky, when Sasha and Naomi obviously left, I think that was the right choice, And then to now get Becky involved in there, because people were saying all types of rumors like Naomi was supposed to win. I have no idea what's true, what's false. But if the writing was that bad, they fixed it, because this is what the match should have been, and we'll see what happens going out. But
yeah, it was supposed to be Naomi versus Bianca. That's what they say it was supposed to be.
That makes no sense. But
thank you.
But yeah, it makes no sense.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
I can see why they were mad if that was true. But we'll see. We'll see what goes down at Hell in a Cell, and tune into our Patreon episode on Saturday for more Sunday.
Speaking about Hell in a Cell, I know you said that the Raw Women's division is really holding it down, and I Becky and Bianca are best on the planet right now, or best. Are they best in the planet, or just best in the E? Are they best in the company?
The best in the world, I would say, as far as women's wrestling, in my opinion, they're the best women in the world. I would throw Sasha in there, me personally, because I think Sasha has a mind for how to make everything work overall. Whether it be the character, whether it be their in-ring ability, and she knows how to work with any person. Like, whether big, small, what, it doesn't matter. But I do believe that over time, Bianca's going to be that person. And I think that Bianca is right now currently the best woman wrestler in the world.
So we got the best woman in the world on Raw. Is the best male wrestler in the world on Raw as well? I know the most over male. Listen, MJF had his fun in the sun, but I can tell you one thing, my guy. Me and you was in Dallas. Me and you was amongst 70,000 people who tripped the fuck out for this nigga. Cody motherfucking Rhodes is the most over motherfucking wrestler. And this feud that they got going on right now between him and Seth Rollins, I think they are right now carrying Raw. Right before Cody came, the anticipation of, is Cody going to show up before WrestleMania to give Seth Rollins? Cody made niggas tune in 2 to 3 weeks before WrestleMania every Monday to see if he coming. And then every Monday after, this nigga done got a Cody clock. This nigga done motherfucking, and he is holding down Raw, but he's only holding down Raw because Seth is a great side B. I think Seth is a side B right now. I think Cody's a side A. I think Seth's a side B.
That's ironic that you're saying that, man, because you've been shitting on Cody for years.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad you've turned the corner to see his value. I think that Cody has become. This is his moment. This is the moment that he's been waiting for in his career to show that he is the player that he thinks he is. He had to learn that by going elsewhere, though. And he wasn't going to learn it in WWE. He learned to become a mega star through his journey on the Indies and then going to New Japan and then finally really becoming a household name. Well, he was already a household name, but becoming a more established solo act in AEW and garnering emotion. Right off the bat, that Dustin match with him, and I go back to that because I think it was a moment that just showed that, he knows what he's doing out there. And even though to create that moment out of no story that was already a story because they're brothers, it was crazy. It was crazy, So that for me was the moment I knew that Cody had the potential to be a main eventer, because you don't just do that on a whim. Now with Seth Rollins and what he's been able to pull off with him in this story, I wouldn't say he's necessarily the A side because they're both at that level. Seth Rollins, man, he may not have had the championship in a long time, and he may have had, he may have had this storyline kind of with Rey Mysterio, with Edge. He's had this kind of like, I gotta beat you kind of storyline for a minute, but it feels different with Cody. I don't know what it is. It feels like these two guys, especially with Cody coming back to the WWE and what he's gone through, them adding that layer to it, it feels like
it feels different because Seth was Dusty's son in the E. That's why it's different, right?
I guess you're right.
Seth working the matches with Alistair and Ray and whoever I gotta beat you. Like, no, this is real animosity between Cody and Seth. Cody didn't like Seth, and Seth was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't like me, nigga, because I'm better than you," right? And Cody was like, "I don't know," and Seth was like, "Well, show us, because right now, nigga, you got face paint on, my nigga. You should be an Uso." You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, so honestly, I think this is different for the simple fact too. Cody couldn't never be the baby face in AEW because it changed on him. You know why it changed on him? Because he changed on us. His motivations of who he was and what he wanted to be, right? Nah, nigga, you ain't Bill Russell. You can't coach and play, my nigga. You either gonna be an executive or you gonna be a player? And right now he's showing that, hey, my value isn't as an executive. My value is as a player. And if he's fit with that, then go be a player, my nigga.
I'm glad he's
go be a
understood
player.
that
And
now.
I respect him being.
I'm glad he's been able to understand that about himself and take himself to just focus on that. You know, when you just focus on that, everything can be great. You know, and he's gonna be. I think he's the guy to beat Roman. I'm gonna say right now, he's the guy who I would choose to beat Roman. I know that a lot of people have different people they're saying, but I think Cody and Roman SummerSlam, Cody and Roman WrestleMania, even Survivor Series, even I don't care where. Make it a big match. It can be a Money in the Bank. Fuck it. But he would be the guy to dethrone him, and it will be a huge moment for the fans. He's the biggest babyface in the world right now. I would say so.
Say he the guy.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a bit.
So that's what I was asking. That's what I was asking was the best wrestler or the best male wrestler on Raw, because I know Roman ain't been on Raw a lot. You know what I'm saying? I think Roman's the best storyteller.
No, I said he's the best babyface in the world. Like Cody Rhodes is the best babyface in the world. Roman's a heel.
Okay.
And Roman is the best wrestler in the world. Period.
Oh, okay.
Roman's the best. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the best wrestler in the world is on Raw. Then the Raw champion. Okay. Yeah. Correct.
He's
okay.
both. Yeah. Right now, if you guys don't know what's happening, there's no brands anymore. They just didn't say it. There's no brands. There's really just everybody's mixed. You know,
he's biracial.
It's you know, you got everybody everywhere, you know. But yeah, with you know, with the unification of tag titles and, like, you know, the World Championship and the Tag Championship, this is what I asked for. If you guys haven't been watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, I've been asking for this for about 3 years, and I'm glad we're getting it. I want the unification of both rosters. I think it's more efficient, more effective for the roster they have now. They can barely write for one show. They have Austin Theory doing God knows what. They got Ricochet doing God knows what. Ezekiel is now getting mad time. I don't know why this guy gets so much time outside of his, I guess, physique. If without a guitar, I don't think he's interesting.
Person, bro. It's Elias.
Without his guitar, without his guitar, he's not it to me. So without his guitar, he's right now. I have a gripe with Ezekiel. They're doing a heel gimmick and trying to make it a baby face, and it doesn't work for me. Even if he were to come out with a guitar and hit somebody and then hide it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this guy is trying to fake that he's
Bo Dallas. Why can't you just go with
Dallas?
It?
I'm not going with shit. I'm done going with shit in wrestling. If I don't like it, I'm going to come on this podcast and tell you. Ezekiel's storyline with Kevin Owens is garbage. It's wasting my time on Raw. It's worse than the 24/7 championship. It's worse, honestly. It's worse.
It's not, because you can't tell me that, because Kevin Owens is comedic.
Kevin Owens is great, but he can only say, you're Elias so many times. He's only can turn their script and try to be funny with it so many times and try to, you know, improv. He's great, but he's not fucking Houdini, man. You're giving him a terrible storyline. Like whatever he had with Sammy was way more interesting on SmackDown than what the fuck he just did with Ezekiel, what he's been doing with Ezekiel to build to this Hell in a Cell match that I don't care about. But that's me. I don't know. Maybe y'all think it's funny. Maybe it's for the kids. Maybe y'all think, oh my God, it's really Elias. That's really going to get you guys to watch wrestling. Fuck that shit.
I mean, why? You got grown niggas crying because CM Punk returned. You got kids crying because motherfucking RK Bro lost the tag team title. I mean, awesome. It's still real to people, my guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's still, I mean, people.
Those were both awesome moments. That does not compare to this.
Hold on, but what I'm saying is that, like, yeah, people do know that that's Ezekiel. People know that that's Elias as Ezekiel. And I mean, it's a bit of Kevin Owens, like, I get you. I'm not explaining it to you, but like, it's a bit.
But how many weeks you gonna do? 4 weeks in a row, the same bit? I'm done with this shit. It's
the same thing with fucking Saturday Night Live, nigga. I mean, as long as Donald Trump was in the news cycle, they had motherfucking Alec Baldwin doing.
And I don't watch that.
You know what I mean? It's a bit, my nigga.
I don't watch that either.
I do. I watch it in subsections where my niggas is on. Shout out to motherfucking Jamaica or motherfucking I watch goddamn Michael Shea and Jalen Coast. So I will motherfucking watch it in spurts, but it is some shit that I don't watch. But as a whole totality, Saturday Night Live, I said Raw and Saturday Night Live should be viewed the same way. That is exactly what I've been saying. I've been saying it. Raw and Saturday Night Live should be viewed the same way. And people who like comedy, who grew up with Jim Carrey and Eddie Murphy and all that shit, was still going to have the nostalgic flip to Saturday Night Live because it's still on to see if they can catch a funny motherfucker. And they're going to be like, damn, it's a waste of time.
Storyline is funny.
Huh?
Do you think the storyline is funny?
Dog, I've been watching playoff basketball. I haven't
I'm asking you a question. Do you think it's funny? No.
I just say no. Like, I chuckle. Okay, I'm not going to stand firm to I'm not going to hold a belief to percent. Like, listen.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know.
Snapping on the niggas
they like, do, bro, I don't get why this person gets so much screen time sometimes. Like, I think they're going to push Riddick Moss or get Madcap Moss to the moon when he gets back. And I'm like, I don't get it. There's certain things I just don't get. And I don't get. And maybe it's not for me. And you're right. I should maybe just ignore it. Because yes, I feel like there's more time on your show to maybe give the women's tag team championship some space to do their thing. That's what I'm thinking. Get this fucking Elias shit out or Ezekiel shit out here. Every time I see him tell a story about him and his brother, I'm like, this is bullshit, man. You're wasting my fucking time. So I tune off too. You're right.
But you're right. Everything we already had this conversation though. Like everything ain't for us.
No, I feel you. But when I also see the women's tag team division going through what it went through, and then they said there's going to be a tournament, and now we're thinking about they might scrap the tournament completely because they don't got enough tag teams. It's like you guys are all over the place.
But that doesn't have a correlation to do with another. They don't have a tag team.
That's what I was getting at. That's why I brought this conversation up. To me, it does. To me, it's like, don't give storylines that are not good time on your screen when you're neglecting a title. That's my thing. And then you have Austin Theory not doing dick squat with the Universal, United States Championship. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait, he is doing something. Okay, I'm not about that. I'm glad that we're here, but I don't want to. You can't say
I'm talking about getting him over as an act. Austin Theory, he can hold the championship. That's not going to get a talented guy like Austin Theory is over as an act. He should be the one with the microphone. He should be the one having promos all the time. That's what I'm saying. They're giving all this energy to fucking Ezekiel.
But no, they're actually giving a lot of time to Theory, my nigga, which enough too much time, and he ain't getting over with all the fucking time that he getting, motherfucker. So I will listen. I'm not finna say would I rather have Ezekiel on my TV rather than fucking Austin Theory or Ricochet. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that we're spending time talking about shit that you don't like when the things that you do like still.
All right, it was the same conversation.
No. Listen, Ricochet and Austin Theory right now. Ricochet and Austin Theory right now is not doing the same thing that Kevin Owens is doing with his storyline, which is making somebody talk about it. Right? Like who fought? Like at one point in time, when is talent going to translate? The only reason why we're involved in this Intercontinental Championship match is because of Walter, and you don't even want Walter in it. So, like, how do we make Ricochet feel special?
Oh, man. Ricochet, I don't know how you can go from somebody who is that talented and then you don't know how to use his talent to, potentially get him over. I don't know. Maybe it's on the talent, but I think a lot of it has to do with writing, man. I think the positions a lot of people are put in sometimes, granted, I think that sometimes have they failed themselves? Absolutely. But you got to put your players in the best position to succeed for it to work, and when you're wasting time with Elias and then there's people on the roster that are, have talent, and it's the same conversation we've had a lot, but at the end of the day, I guess you're right. I should ignore it completely and just focus on Cody and Seth.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You're saying that like, Ezekiel's taking up time on TV that you don't care for, but like that's everywhere, right? That's everywhere, right? I love MLW. They got the blackest champions in fucking wrestling. But once they took the title off of fucking Jacob Fatu, I tuned out. You know why? Because who the fuck the title on, nigga? Exactly. You know what I mean? That's the point. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it is circumstances that make you that cause a ripple effect in how it is that. But with that being said, with Ezekiel and Kevin Owens, could Kevin Owens be doing something different? Yes. Has Kevin Owens had the United States Championship, had the Tag Team Championship, had the Intercontinental Championship, lost the World Championship match? It's not really else that he can do, right? You can give him something, you can give him a storyline, but I mean, it is degrees, and this goes back to Will Ospreay's comment about, he says, I don't knock WWE, but they're more actors than professional wrestlers, and I'm like, well, you're knocking them because you're actually mad that they're doing more than you. You're mad that they're still wrestlers, so they're wrestling. But they're acting, so they have another responsibility that you aren't able to
tap into, and I feel you. But Will Ospreay, you know, I would say I fuck with how he approaches his things too. He's more down to earth, and he wants to, you know, work in a way where he controls his paycheck, he controls his lifestyle. His lifestyle is not of a WWE wrestler, so he has no desire to do that. But is it knocking them by saying they're more actors? And does he have a point with that? Yeah, he does, because you got to come in, you got to clock in, and then you got to do all these promos, and then you go out there and you do wrestle for a short amount of time on TV. If you got your time, you get your time cut. Sometimes you know if you're going to be on the squad. Sometimes you're just in the background of somebody else's angle, and then you go home. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of talented people are doing it. There are a lot of people are, on backstage angles or in 24/7 chasing you around, and they're talented people. Cedric Alexander is one of the most talented wrestlers in the world.
But you started
this off wrestling.
But you started this off with Ezekiel and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens signed re-signed because
I'm not comparing Kevin Owens to people I'm talking about though.
No, but what I mean, you are, because you're saying he's wasting his time with Ezekiel.
I would like a Cedric Alexander KO feud. Be creative, write something where they can get a feud and have a new match that people want to see. And there's certain people that give time that I'm like, man, just because he can talk, is it that? I guess it's where we're at. I don't know.
That's exactly. Hold on, that's why I brought you. That's exactly where we're at. If you can talk, that is a big part of.
But he can. Okay. He can. I'm not gonna knock his wrestling skills. He's not the worst wrestler in the world. But he's not entertaining to me. I guess he's just not.
Ezekiel?
Like Ezekiel is terrible, bro. Is it gonna get over? How long is this match gonna last?
But that's
like, what are the legs of Ezekiel?
But that's what I'm just saying. That's what I'm just saying. He's not a main eventer. He's filling a slot. That's what I'm saying. He's not for you, because you come in to see main eventers.
I know.
I'm
saying that you're not putting him in the best position with this. I think that the way they write is just weird sometimes. I think that all right, man.
Well, I'm just saying the way that they write, correct. You have
gotta go around in circles. I hear you.
The way that they write, it doesn't make sense, but they also kind of give you they give you what you want.
It's lazy, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, but everyone is. We are, motherfucker. We lazy as a motherfucker.
No, I'm not. If you look at my life on a day-to-day basis, you'll see that I'm one of the least laziest persons in the world.
Me too, nigga, but I'm lazy as fuck. I'm not finna lie to myself and say I ain't. I'm not finna lie to I'm just talking about me, but what I'm saying is this: every portion of what we're talking about, how we consume, how we watch, how it's presented, how they make it, every portion of it isn't going to be sophisticated, because everything doesn't have the capacity for it.
You know what? You're right. Moving along, let's go to the tag team division because we're gonna go around in circles. At the end of the day,
the tag team division, right? Okay, bro, you didn't like that tag team, but you got people crying when they lose the championship because they built equity in something that you didn't care for. Even though you didn't care for it, doesn't matter, nigga. It still mattered. That's the whole point I'm trying to say.
No, you're right. You're right, man. At the end of the day, let's talk about the greatest tag team of the decade. You know, RK Bro lost. They might not even be a thing anymore. But I'm wrong. If you want me to hear you say live on the air, I was wrong about RK Bro. I was wrong. I was wrong. 100%. And I'm man enough to come on this podcast and do that. I'm man enough to say when I was wrong about something, because wrestling fans don't do that shit. They double down on their ignorance. And I'm not going to double down my ignorance. RK Bro was great. And it didn't happen the way I wanted to happen. But if it affected those kids like that, you got what you needed.
Bro, they got that feel.
I loved it. At the end of the day, I loved it. So I'm like, man, I'm missing something here. And I see it. But we'll see if Elias does that or Ezekiel does that. And I'll give it some time, I guess. And
him and Madcap Moss may not. Him and Matt, they might not, because you got to have some flops, right? Mm-hmm. Some people, everybody's not going, you know what I'm saying? Like, people thought Enzo and Kaz was going to be the top of the division. Yeah. And then they, you know what I mean? Like, there are some things that don't, but I do think that in those spaces that we see that is working, right? Because, right, again, I didn't bring that up for you to say that you was wrong, but I did want you to kind of, I did want to tie a bow on it that, like, yes, it may not be for you, but it is filling a purpose somehow. And I think that's
talking about the show, whenever I watch because I'll be honest with you, I'm not coming here to tell you guys that I know what's best for wrestling. I'm coming here as a critic because I love wrestling. I love wrestling. And I'm critical of it, and I'm proud to be critical of it because I'm critical about everything that I love. My family, my money, how I do things in life. I am hardworking, and you are lying, Chris. You're one of the most hardworking guys that I know. We are hardworking guys here. However, when some other people are lazy, yeah, you can call it out. And if I'm late and lazy, I expect somebody to call me out too. So I call them out because I'm accountable, and I want them to be accountable when they do some fuck shit, when they do some bullshit, you know? So that's what I do on this, you know? So that's, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, RK Bro, I was wrong. But what I'm not going to be wrong about is who they put the title on, and that is the Usos. I'm telling you, I was told you that RK Bro needs to lose that Unification channel. I honestly didn't watch WrestleMania Backlash. I didn't, because I was upset that they didn't make the main event the tag team titles. And that goes to show you how wrong I was.
Why?
Because that's the story they were telling from WrestleMania to WrestleMania Backlash. That was the biggest storyline in the company. And I was appreciative that they gave the tag team division like the shine for that time. Like, you know, even though I don't know Roman's going through he may be in, he may not be in. We don't know if Roman's going to be a part-timer right now. He's going on these live tours and saying, you know what, love you guys, and thank you for all the support as a heel, saying that he's not going to be doing this for much longer. And shout out to Roman, because you deserve to move on with your life and do bigger and better things. And I support him in whatever he does next. You know, he's great. But this was the moment to make the tag team titles the main event of WrestleMania Backlash, because that was the moment where I didn't need Roman in this, because he didn't have a challenger. That's fine. You know how many years Hulk Hogan went without getting? At some point, Hulk Hogan just would go months without having a challenger, and then eventually, you know, the Intercontinental Championship would be the main title at SummerSlam or something like that. You know that, or you know, whoever was champion at the time, Ric Flair. You know, he was like on the mid card sometimes, because the Intercontinental Championship warranted that spot. I think the tag division at WrestleMania Backlash warranted that spot. They didn't get it, and I was pissed off, and I didn't watch the show. However, putting it on the Usos is warranted. The unified Raw and SmackDown champions for the first time ever. I believe this has happened, and I'm here for it. I think that they have solidified themselves as one of the best tag teams, if not the best tag team of the past decade. And this might be a recency bias type of thing, but there is a lot of people that can.
It's a lot of tag teams.
There's a lot of tag teams that can argue to be the best tag team of the last decade. Now, on this graphic here, we have the Young Bucks. We got FTR. We have New Days. Then we even got the Briscoes, because just because they're not on television doesn't mean that they haven't been one of the best tag teams of the past decade. They have been one of the best tag teams of the past decade. They separated their own singles runs, came back together. They're real brothers. They have great matches. Go back and watch the match with FTR. They actually did have a great match, man. One of the best matches of the year.
Nigga said if I like the Usos, I should like the Briscoes.
Yeah, they're literally like they're similar acts. Honestly, they're similar acts, but the Briscoes can work, and not this is not comparison. They can work. So if you watch the matches, it's not just their attitude and how they portray themselves, but they are one of the best tag teams in the world right now, and they have been for a long time. So these are our top 5. So you guys, if you're listening to us, if you're watching this clip, who are your top tag teams of the past decade? Because this is our top 5. Or this is my top 5. I don't want to speak for Chris. Because is there anybody else you would put in there?
To be honest, I don't think so, man. I'm gonna be honest. When we talking about it, let me see. When you talking about it, there is no other tag team that has made the impact in the last decade like these 5 tag teams, right? Like the Briscoes hold down ROH in itself, like hold down a whole company in itself.
Yeah.
The Bucks building a whole company in itself. You know what I'm saying? FTR winning 4 different championships.
6. It's like something like that.
4 companies, right? Or 6 champions. Hold on. NXT, SmackDown, Raw, AEW, ROH, AAA. 6.
Wait, 6, yeah.
Yep, so I'm saying, like,
that's wild, yeah. That's awesome.
Bruh. And them niggas want to get motherfucking IWGP World Champion.
They're like the Dudleys of our era, I feel like, because the Dudleys and Legion of Doom. Both of those tag teams were going everywhere. I would say
FTR was more Legion of Doom than Dudleys.
All right, I would because as far as career, they went from WWE, they left, they went to New Japan, they went and collected titles everywhere, and the AWA, they were that tag team for their era. That's why I think Legion of Doom till this day is one of the best tag teams of all time. But let's talk about the last decade. These are my top 5. If I'm choosing out of this, it's very hard to choose because the Usos. The Usos are iconic, but the New Day is also iconic in their own right. Obviously, had some of the greatest matches with the Usos in their feud. But what they did for pushing, I think, Black culture forward, for pushing, Kofi to the main event of WrestleMania, for also just being a unit in the way that doing it differently than any act I've seen of Black men, in WWE, and getting over to their selling cereal or merchandise. Arguably are one of the best tag teams of the last decade, if not the best tag team to do it. So all these tag teams have an argument for why they're the best, but I already said mine is the Usos. Who are yours out of this? Because can you choose?
Yeah, I don't think the Usos is the best tag team. Usos, it's hard for me to say the Usos, even though they just did something unprecedented. They're not the best tag team in their company. I do believe that New Day is the best WWE tag team of all time.
Okay, and I'm not gonna knock you because they were like up there with me too. They're like 1 and 2.
I think they're, and I think what makes them more unique is the interchangeableness.
We did a character spotlight on them, and we were getting to the Usos. We never got to that, but you're right. The interchangeable of them, I think, with their history, they made it 2 world champions,
like that. 2 world champions, an IC champion, a United States champion, a King of the Ring, a motherfucking they, like you say, sell cereal, bootio. Not just any cereal, nigga. Them motherfuckers sell bootios, bruh.
When that came out.
Bootios.
When that came out, I was like, no, they didn't.
Bootios,
they didn't. They did not name a cereal Bootios and actually sell that shit.
And sold them motherfuckers out, bro. Bootios.
And they must have been cracking the hell up when they actually, we're gonna do it. That's fascinating, man. I think the New Day are iconic, and they're
super iconic. They're super iconic.
They're iconic. So that is right up there. But the reason why I want the Usos is just consistency over time, the time frame, from the evolution of the team over time. from being in the paint face and growing as brothers, and having consistent great matches the entire way. Like people don't even talk about
Nigga,
matches they had with Tyson Kidd and
nah, that fucking that 2 out of 3 joint with the Wyatts was
the Wyatts.
Easy.
But to the Tyson Kidd and Cesaro had matches with them. Like they've been doing it for a long time. They're so good that we don't even notice how good they are sometimes.
The bar
has some great matches with them. So they haven't not been a tag team the entire way, and they stuck with it. So you're talking about pure tag teams. Yeah, the past decade, the Usos were the most iconic, most impactful tag team, and along with the Young Bucks. I think the Usos and the Young Bucks, first impact out of these tag teams, are top tier. But as far as just wrestling and saying, we're gonna stick in one company and win as many championships as we've won, and just be a tag team purely and have good matches, and go out there and pivot, change your style, change your gear, change your look. And now they're with the Bloodline with the 2 top titles in the company, first time. So I think it's a great moment for them and the Bloodline, what they have going on with Roman. It's going to be something we always remember. But yeah, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. Even as I sit here right now, I'm still like kind of like, am I right? Nah, maybe not. But it's a great conversation. Y'all, like I said, y'all decide. Y'all tell us what you think. Because honestly, to me, all 5 of those guys over the past decade have been killing it. So they all could possibly be your top tag team in the past decade, and I'm not going to argue. But maybe somebody says the Bar. Maybe somebody says, another tag team that I haven't heard of. We're
getting some response right now. All close, but New Day, in my opinion, definitely New Day than the Young Bucks. That's on Twitter right now because I put it live on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Twitter. Twitter need more options. We only got 4 options. We got 5 teams, so I don't know how we do that math.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'll just put the picture up and let niggas have at it.
Yeah, you can put the clip up or something and let people fight for it and see what they think. Let's start a conversation.
Outside on the Run show, we talked about everything except we glanced a little bit about Rico. And does talent translate? Does talent translate? And I think it is on the talent, like you say, and on writing staff. I think Walter and Rico will be a great wrestling match. I know that's probably not what you think is the best use for Walter at the moment, but I think at the moment it is. If Walter's not going to come at the top gun at Roman, because Roman has to.
Exactly. If he's not, then yes. I get it.
I don't think
Rico needs to die.
Roman has Drew, Cody, and he has Drew, Cody, and Bobby before.
He has Riddle too.
Faces and Riddle.
And Randy Orton if he comes back.
So those are 5 people in front of Walter. That
I hear you, and you're right, but I think Walter going into Hell in a Cell with Roman. Like if they were to have him come after Roman immediately,
they're not trying to put bangers every month, though, my nigga. That's the thing.
That's on them. That's why. I love to do bangers every single month. That's what I fucking would love to do. But if they were to take them, why not? Like why?
Okay, but who? But who? No, but who wins and who loses?
You have a banger match. Damn it! We try to do this every month.
But Chidi, you're not paying attention. They're building. Walter just came. He's in a month into his reign. He gets a title match with Roman. He wins or loses.
I think he loses. Yeah, he loses. I don't mind Walter losing.
That hurts Walter. That hurts Walter.
Walter's not going to get hurt by that. I think that just the storyline from April till now would have been like, if you put Walter in a position, he might win, he might lose. Are they really going to put the title on Walter right now? He's going to be the one to defeat Roman. I think that is a compelling story if you can put it together. Because I think there's intrigue in that possibly going to Walter if people look at it from that point. Who is this guy coming out from nowhere? And I could be wrong.
I like that story, but it's hot shotted. You don't know who Walter is. Walter then he has to collect. He has to defeat Ricochet, get the Intercontinental Championship, and I guess whoever defeats Walter at that point. You make a guy, or does Walter
beat everybody? There's no challengers.
Or does he relinquish? Does he hold this and he relinquish this bitch?
He's I beat everybody. I have both titles to beat Brock. and then Walter came night after WrestleMania, and Walter's music hits, you think that doesn't like garner a pop or like, oh, who's this guy? I think that would have been dope. But that's me because I know who Walter is. You're right. We don't know him on the ring roster, so taking the time with him, I'm not against it either. But
yeah, but he's
I'm
not even Walter. We calling this nigga by his. It's not even
Oh,
Walter.
it's Gunther. My bad. But we all know how we found out of this guy. We met him as Walter. We met him as Walter.
If I'm gonna call him Walter, I'm gonna call him Walter. It's not really nothing really shaking on SmackDown too much. They have the worst women division in wrestling. My God. SmackDown ain't popping at all. And that's my extent of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
I think that the women's division of SmackDown needs to be shaken up a little bit.
Drew,
and then
kind of spice that shit up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I think the tag division needs the women's. I mean, not the tag division. The women's division could use. Ronda needs a competitor, obviously, and I think that if there was a angle to give Ronda some sympathy, we can get more people behind her as a champion. We do need somebody to maybe take her out for a month, and I would say that they do like who took her out kind of mystery angle. That's what comes to my mind immediately is like, who took out the baddest bitch? She's women's champion. Who took her out? She has a lot of people that could want to come after her because she's from UFC, and it could be Shayna, it could be Charlotte getting her revenge, it could be Becky for embarrassing her, and it could be whoever. It could be the other champion, Bianca, and they could string it along for a long time, and then have Ronda come back, SummerSlam and have the reveal of whoever it is. Because I think that if you know who you're going to have Ronda face at SummerSlam, she doesn't necessarily need to have the title if you can tell a story. And that's what Ronda's missing.
I think what you're saying is not really false as far as like they need to do something with Ronda, but I think Ronda and Charlotte wasn't the wave. We talked about it. Ronda, Charlotte, I would have rather had Bianca and Charlotte and then have Becky and Ronda at Mania. They had both women. They had all 4 women, both matches, same night. Just flip the challengers champions, and we have.
I think you're on something, but I think you would switch the woman. I think you're on something, but I think we talked about it before. I would switch the women. It would be Becky, Ronda, Charlotte, Bianca. In my mind,
that's what I just said.
You said Ronda, Bianca, Becky, Charlotte.
Did I say that?
Yeah, that's what
we'll play it back. We'll play it back. We'll run it back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, SmackDown ain't shaking about shit. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to acknowledge y'all that y'all ain't shaking about shit. You know what I'm saying? Anything else we got? We went long form, hella long form. We got that motherfucking new car joint. You got anything else on your docket? Did we miss anything?
Did we miss anything? Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Flair, Andrade and Charlotte Flair. Mr. and Mrs. Lasombra. Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Lasombra. They got married, so congratulations to them. That's probably why Charlotte's not on television right now. And yeah, let's just keep it peace. Right now in wrestling, let's keep it peace.
Oh, hold on. We can't get out of here without talking about Nikita Lyons in this bitch.
Nikita Lyons.
I'm finna get disrespectful in this motherfucker. Look.
All right, listen here, sweet cakes. You fucked up. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? You fucked up.
Nothing she can't recover from.
No. Nah, I mean, yeah. She's a white woman. You'll get more of this.
They're getting Amber Heard the fuck out of here. So, white woman, if you go, there is a limit. There is a big.
Yeah, but it got to be Johnny Depp, nigga. It can't offend black people, limit, nigga. What do you mean?
They got some. Have white women got canceled before? Has any?
Yeah, for doing other shit to white people, my nigga. That's the only way. That's it.
Interesting. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, maybe that's true.
You know what I'm saying? I'm Becky from motherfucking Full House went to jail because she motherfucker was frauding checks to get her kid on a road team or some shit like that. You fuck with white people and their money, they gonna get your ass.
That's true. That's true. Shit. Yeah, Nikita, you're lucky.
Yo, honestly, I don't want to spend. Listen, we listen. You'll get our uncensored, unfiltered thoughts on Sunday. Yeah. That is Patreon exclusive. We're gonna really get into it.
Let's talk about the
you know what I'm saying?
Situation.
Yeah.
Because that warranted everything that we were saying on the phone earlier. We should.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Sundays is gonna be phone conversations, unfiltered phone conversations with the homies. You know what I'm saying? You know. But yeah, Nikita, we just wanted to make sure on our live show that we let you know you fucked up. Tony Khan, hey, we back. Haven't still heard an apology yet. You know what I'm saying? Over Big Slow.
We're still gonna say that every pod.
Every pod
needs an apology from Tony Khan.
And she was right. Let's just go ahead.
And she was right.
It's unstructured in a motherfucker over there.
But they're succeeding. That's the only thing I would say.
It depends what this new merger talk about. Because Warner and Discovery, they got a merger. It all depends on what they offering, what that money is, where they're gonna be at, what the contract look like. So we wait on that. They did really good for a startup, 3 years. They re-up, got that contract. Now it's time to do real big business.
I like it. We'll see how everything's go, but it's we'll find out. But I think they'll be all right. Honestly, the way the trajectory is going with the company, they're elevating. They're pushing wrestling forward. So you know they're not structured. WWE's not structured either. Be honest. That's why people are walking out that bitch.
Nope.
So there's nowhere you can go.
But that's the reason why I say if it ain't no structure, then just let it be. Let's go. Let's let it be what it is gonna be. But fuck that, because if everybody gonna be unstructured and everybody gonna try to be like us, and we are the underground of professional podcast, my nigga.
And put unstructured on that shit too. Uncut, unedited, unfiltered, unstructured.
Yeah, I mean, so we thank y'all for fucking with us, man. 2.5, almost 2.5 hours. We got our shit back, man. Got our shit back. You catch us every Thursday, 4:20. Every Thursday. Oh shit! Come on. This what happened. This what happened when you motherfucking.
It's about that time.
Whoa, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what it is.
Damn, I'm
Keep
jealous.
your eyes on me. Keep your eyes on me.
Yo, everybody, everything is wrestling. All is love. We'll see you next week. Sign up to the Patreon. $5 to get our uncensored conference on the Key Alliance. And we're going to talk a little bit about the LGBT community.
Yes, we are, man.
And there'll be LGBTQ storylines, you know.
We love.
Shout out to the Pride Month, you know. So
we love the inclusion that AEW said that they was going to possess for their company. And granted, they have done more than most.
Yeah.
Right? But we have not seen Sunny Kiss in a while. She bet not show up just for June. You dig me?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk all that, and even getting over Nyla. I think Nyla has been, you know, prominently presented, but you know, is it possible to do that? You know, not that they should tell the stories if they don't feel like, you know, telling those kind of stories, but it's possible to, you know, connect with characters so people can understand it more.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily humanizing nobody. That's not what we're saying, but if
just to get characters over. This is what wrestling is. But anyways, we'll talk more about the deeper on the podcast. Happy Pride Month to all the members of the LGBTQ community. And like I said, all's love. Everything is wrestling.
Everything is wrestling.
Next week, Thursday.
Shout out to my nigga West, fourth row.
Shout out to West, of course. Always.
He was front row at AEW last night. You dig? Yeah, I mean, so yeah, everything is wrestling. Shop EIWshop.com. Like Chidi said, we are everywhere. Media's associates. Reasonable Wrestling Searches, RW Podcast 1 on Twitter. We out this motherfucker. Peace. I was actually done. Thank you. I was about to come in. Now I'm coming in.